What if I told you that everything you think you know about childhood is wrong? Tonight, you're going to live through something that will change how you see strength, family, and survival forever. This isn't just a story. It's a time machine to a world so brutal, so unforgiving, that most of us wouldn't survive a single day. The morning your childhood ended, you were only 7 winters old. You remember it perfectly. The taste of sour milk on your tongue from breakfast. The way frost painted strange patterns on the longhouse walls like ancient runes warning of what was to come. Your mother's rough hands, hands that had delivered babies and buried them, that had skinned wolves and woven dreams, shaking you awake before the sun even thought about rising. Up, Eric, she said, not gently. Vikings never did anything gently. Today you stopped being a baby. You didn't know it yet, but this was the day that would either forge you into something unbreakable or destroy you completely. I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Welcome to Night Muse, where we don't just tell stories, we live them, breathe them, become them. If this journey moves you, if Eric's story becomes part of your story, I'd be genuinely honored if you'd hit that like button. It tells me these deep dives into history matter to you. And if you want more journeys like this, more nights where we explore the incredible resilience of the human spirit, subscribe and ring that notification bell. There are so many untold stories waiting for us. Right now, take a moment. Notice where you are. Are you tucked under soft blankets that would feel like pure luxury to a Viking child? Are you in a warm room where the temperature never drops below comfortable? Can you hear the gentle hum of central heating, the distant sounds of modern life protecting you from the wild? Remember this feeling, this safety, this softness, because in just a moment, you're going to step into a world where comfort was earned through pain, where love was shown through preparation for suffering, where parents didn't coddle their children, they forged them like iron and fire. Over the next 2 hours, you'll understand why archaeologists find Viking children's toys made of iron and stone, why their lullabies were about warriors dying well, why their bedtime stories were survival guides disguised as myths. You'll discover that what we call tough love was to them just love. The kind of love that said, I'd rather break your heart teaching you to be strong than have the world break your body because I kept you weak. This isn't just about Vikings. It's about what humans are truly capable of when everything soft is stripped away. It's about the incredible power that lies dormant in all of us, waiting for the right moment to emerge. So close your eyes, let your breathing slow, and prepare to become Eric, 7 winters old, standing at the threshold between innocence and iron. Your real education begins now. Your feet hit the cold ground before your mind catches up. The longhouse is dark, darker than any room you've ever known in your modern life. No street lights seeping through windows, no gentle glow from electronic devices, just pure, thick darkness that feels heavy enough to touch. The fire in the center of the house died hours ago. Nobody wastes wood keeping it burning through the night. Wood means work. Work means survival. Everything here means survival. Your mother's already moving through the darkness like she was born in it. She doesn't stumble. Don't hesitate. Her hands find exactly what they're looking for. Your day clothes, stiff with cold, and yesterday's dirt. Dress, she says. One word. That's all you get. Your fingers are already numb as you fumble with the wool tunic. It scratches against your skin like tiny needles. The leather belt is so cold it burns. Your boots, if you can call these wrapped pieces of hide boots, are still damp from yesterday. But you don't complain. You learned not to complain when you were 4 winters old. That was the day your father backhanded you for crying about hunger. Not hard enough to really hurt. Vikings knew the difference between discipline and damage, but hard enough to teach. The lesson was simple. Tears are luxury. Vikings don't do luxury. Faster, your mother says. She's not angry. This is just how she talks. Every word has purpose. Every moment has meaning. You're dressed now, but you're shaking. Not from fear. Well, maybe a little from fear, but mostly from cold. The kind of cold that makes your bones ache. The kind that makes you understand why Vikings are so tough. When you grow up fighting the weather just to stay alive, fighting people seems easy. Your older brother, Bjorn, is already outside. He's 12 winters old, practically a man. You can hear him chopping wood, each strike echoing through the morning darkness. He's been up for an hour already. When you're 12, you'll be expected to do the same. If you make it to 12, that's not a dark thought here. It's just reality. Your mother had 8 children. 4 are still alive. The others, fever took 2, winter took 1, and little Astrid. Nobody talks about what happened to Astrid, but sometimes you catch your mother staring at the corner where her cradle used to be, and her face does something you've never seen before. Almost soft, almost sad. Then she notices you watching, and the hardness returns. Outside, she says, "Now, your father's waiting." Your stomach drops. When father waits, it means training. Training means pain. You push open the heavy door. The cold hits you like a fist to the chest. Your breath comes out in white clouds that disappear into the darkness. Stars still own the sky, but there's a thin line of gray on the horizon. Dawn is thinking about coming, but it's taking its time. Your father stands by the woodpile. He's massive, even to adult eyes. To your 7-year-old perspective, he's basically a mountain that learned to walk. His beard is already forming ice crystals. His hands, those massive scarred hands that have killed more men than you can count, are bare. Cold doesn't bother him anymore. Nothing much bothers him anymore. "You're late," he says. "You weren't late. You know you weren't late." But arguing would be stupid, and stupid children don't survive Viking childhood. "Sorry, father," he grunts. That's as close to acceptance as you'll get. "Today," he says, "you learned to fight." Your heart pounds. You knew this was coming. Every Viking child knows this is coming. But knowing and experiencing are different things. Very different things. He tosses something at you. You barely catch it. A wooden sword, child-sized but still heavy. Your arms already ache just from holding it. First lesson, your father says, fighting isn't about strength. It's about not giving up. The strongest warrior who gives up dies. The weakest warrior who keeps fighting might live. He picks up his own wooden sword. Even in training, even with his own child, he won't go easy. That's not the Viking way. Defend yourself. And he swings. The wooden sword catches you in the ribs, hard. The pain explodes through your side like fire. And you drop to your knees in the snow. Can't breathe. Can't think. Can only hurt. Your father stands over you, waiting. This is the moment that separates Viking children from the others. The moment where you either get up or you stay down. And staying down means shame. Not just your shame, your family's shame, your entire bloodline's shame. You push yourself up, your side screams, your legs shake, but you stand. Your father nods, just once. That nod means more than any praise you've ever received in your modern life. That nod means you might be worth teaching. Again, he says. This time you try to block. The impact runs up your arms like lightning. Your wooden sword flies from your numb fingers, disappearing into the snow. Your father's next swing stops just before hitting your head. Dead, he says simply. Get your weapon. You dig through the snow, finding the sword. Your hands won't stop shaking. From cold, from fear, from exhaustion. Does it matter? They shake. Again. This continues until the sun finally decides to show up. By then, you've been knocked down 17 times. You've gotten up 17 times. Your entire body is one giant bruise. Your mother watches from the doorway now. Spinning wool like this is completely normal, because for her, it is. Enough, your father finally says. Breakfast. You want to collapse, want to cry, want to run to your mother and have her hold you and tell you it's okay. But Viking mothers don't do that. Viking mothers prepare their children for a world that wants to kill them. Comfort makes you weak. Weak gets you dead. Inside the longhouse, your sisters are already working. Gudrun is 9 winters old, and she's been up almost as long as you, helping mother prepare food. Inga is 5, and she's trying to card wool with her tiny fingers. Even she doesn't get to just be a child. Breakfast is porridge. It's always porridge. Sometimes with a bit of preserved fish. Sometimes with some dried berries if you're lucky. Today you're not lucky. Just porridge. Thick and gray and tasteless. But it's warm. And after what you've been through, warm is everything. You eat in silence. Vikings don't chat over meals. Talking is for important things. Food is already important enough. Your mother looks at your face. There's a bruise forming on your cheek, where you failed to duck in time. She reaches out. For just a moment you think she's going to touch it gently. Maybe put some herbs on it. Instead, she pokes it. Hard. You flinch. Good, she says. Pain is a teacher. Remember what it teaches. That's Viking motherly love. Checking that you're hurt enough to learn, but not so hurt you can't function. It's a very specific balance. Your brother Björn sits across from you. He's got his own bruises, older ones, already turning yellow and green. He sees you looking. First day is the easiest, he says quietly, when father isn't listening. Tomorrow will be worse. You don't understand how it could be worse. Your 7-year-old mind can't comprehend more pain than this. But you'll learn. Oh, you'll learn. After breakfast, there's no rest. Rest is for the dead. You're sent out with Bjorn to check the animal traps. It's a 2-mile walk through snow that comes up to your knees. Your legs burn. Your lungs burn. Everything burns except your feet. Those went numb 10 minutes ago. Why doesn't father just hunt with a bow? You ask Bjorn as you trudge through the forest. Arrows take time to make, Bjorn says. Traps work while you sleep. Vikings make everything work.
Even sleep.
The first trap is empty. The second has a rabbit, frozen solid. The third has a wolf. It's not a big wolf, probably young, maybe sick, but it's still a wolf, and it's still alive. Its leg is crushed in the trap, and its eyes are wild with pain and fear. Bjorn hands you his knife. Your kill, he says. You stare at him, then at the wolf, then at the knife. You don't what? Want to? Neither did I. My first time. Father made me do it anyway. Now I'm making you. This is how Vikings teach. Not with gentle guidance, not with patient explanation, with necessity, with reality, with doing. You take the knife. It's heavier than you expected. Everything in Viking life is heavier than you expected. The wolf watches you approach. It tries to pull away, but the trap holds. You can see its breath, quick white puffs in the cold air. You can see where it's chewed at its own leg, trying to escape. Where? You ask Bjorn. Throat. Quick and clean. Respect the animal by not making it suffer more than needed. Your hand shakes as you kneel in the snow. The wolf's eyes meet yours. For a moment, just a moment, you understand each other. Both young, both afraid, both trying to survive in a world that doesn't care about either of you. You cut, quick. Like Bjorn said, the wolf's eyes go empty. The blood is impossibly red against the white snow. Good, Bjorn says. Now skin it. Fur is valuable. Meat is food. Bones are tools. Everything has use. Your hands are covered in blood by the time you're done. It's under your fingernails. In the cracks of your skin. The smell, metal and wild animal and death, fills your nose. This is Viking childhood. 7 winters old, and you've already killed, already learned that life feeds on death, already understood that sentimentality is a luxury your world doesn't offer. Walking back, dragging the wolf's body through the snow, Bjorn tells you something. The first time I killed, he says, I cried after, when no one could see, behind the woodpile. You look at him, surprised. Bjorn never cries. Bjorn is basically father, just smaller. Did father find out? Probably. Father knows everything, but he never said anything. I think maybe he cried his first time too, when his father made him kill, and his father before that. But Vikings don't cry. No, Bjorn agrees. Vikings don't cry where others can see. There's a difference. Back at the longhouse, your mother takes the wolf, without comment. Her hands, already red from the cold, examine the pelt with expert eyes. She finds every spot where your inexperienced knife went too deep, every place where you could have done better. Wasteful, she says, showing you a tear in the hide. This could have been mittens. Now it's nothing. There's no anger in her voice. Vikings don't waste energy on anger over what's already done. But disappointment is worse than anger. Anger passes. Disappointment lingers. I'll teach you properly, she continues. After you've finished with father's training, after you've helped with the wood, after you've tended the animals, after you've hauled water from the stream, after everything in Viking childhood comes after something else. There's always more work, always more learning, always more pain. She sets you to work immediately, grinding barley with a heavy stone quern. Your arms, already screaming from sword training, shake with each rotation. The grain has to be ground fine. Coarse flour makes bad bread, and bad bread is another form of waste. Your little sister Inga watches you work. She's learning too, just by watching. That's how Viking children learn half of everything, by watching and copying. No one has time to explain everything twice. Why do we work so hard? Inga asks. She's 5, still young enough to ask why. Your mother answers, before you can. Because winter doesn't care if you're tired. Enemies don't care if you're weak. The gods don't care if you're comfortable. We work hard so we live another day. That's all. That's all. 2 words that sum up Viking philosophy. Survive today. That's all. Tomorrow will bring its own problems. As you grind the barley, your mother starts working the wolf pelt. Her knife moves like water, separating skin from flesh with practiced ease. Nothing is wasted. The meat goes into the pot for tonight's stew. The bones are set aside for tool making. Even the sinew is kept. It makes the strongest thread. Watch, she tells you, though your arms never stop grinding. See how the knife follows the muscle. Force is stupid. Understanding is smart. Know the body, and it gives you what you need. This is a lesson about more than skinning animals. Though you're too young to understand that yet, this is about reading the world, about finding the natural way through problems, about understanding that everything, animals, weather, enemies, even children, has patterns. Learn the patterns, and you control the outcome. Your sister Gudrun brings in eggs from the chickens. 3 eggs from 12 chickens. Fox got in again, she says, simply. Your mother's jaw tightens. A fox means lost chickens. Lost chickens mean less food. Less food means someone might not make it through winter. These calculations happen instantly in every Viking parent's mind. Tonight we set better traps, she says. Eric will help. You will help. After sword training, after wood chopping, after water hauling, after everything else, after. The day continues like this. Work flows into work. Your hands are raw, your back aches, your legs shake with exhaustion, but you don't stop. Can't stop. Vikings who stop die. Around midday, your father returns from checking his fishing lines. Ice crystals in his beard make him look like some ancient winter spirit. He has 2 fish. Not much for a family of 6, but better than nothing. He sees you grinding barley and grunts approval. That grunt is like a feast to your starved need for recognition. Vikings' parents don't praise. They acknowledge. An acknowledgement means you're doing something right. The boy killed his first wolf. Your mother tells him as she works. Your father looks at you, really looks at you. For a moment, you see something in his eyes. Pride? Memory? Or just calculation about whether you'll be useful enough to keep feeding? How did he do? Your father asks your brother. He hesitated, Björn says honestly. But he did it. Clean enough. Hesitation kills warriors, your father says. Tomorrow we train that out of him. Train that out. Like hesitation is a splinter to be removed. Like mercy is a weakness to be beaten away. And maybe, In their world, it is. Your mother serves lunch, yesterday's bread, hard as stone, and some preserved fish that tastes like salt and old leather. You have to soak the bread in water just to chew it, but it fills the empty space in your stomach, and that's what matters. Tell me about the wolf, your father says suddenly. You almost choke on your bread. Father never asks for stories. Father barely talks at meals. It was young, you say carefully. Maybe sick. Its leg was broken in the trap. What color were its eyes? The question surprises you. Yellow, like old honey. Your father nods slowly. I remember my first wolf. Gray eyes, like storm clouds. I was 6 winters old. My hand shook so bad I almost dropped the knife. You stare at him. Father's hands never shake. Father is iron and stone and winter wind. Father doesn't have doubts or fears or memories of being small. But I killed it, he continues. As you killed yours, as your son will kill his. This is the way. This is the way. Vikings love that phrase. It explains everything and nothing. It means don't question, just do. It means generations before you survived this, so you will too. It means the world is harsh, and we match its harshness. After lunch, you're sent to help your mother with wool work. Your fingers are too cold and clumsy for spinning, but you can card the wool, pulling it through metal combs to straighten the fibers. It's mindless work, which is good, because your mind is exhausted. Good run spins while you card, her fingers moving with practiced ease. She's been spinning since she was 4. By the time she marries, probably at 14 or 15, she'll be able to clothe an entire household. Father was almost soft with you, she says quietly, talking about his first wolf. That was soft, you ask. For father, that was practically a song. When I started my woman's work, all he said was don't bring shame. That was it. Viking daughters get different training than sons, but not easier. Where boys learn to fight and die, girls learn to endure and survive, to birth children in agony and get up the next day to work, to lose half those children and keep working, to watch their husbands sail away and maybe never come back and still keep the household running. Is it harder, you ask, being a girl? Gudrun thinks about this as her fingers work the wool. It's different. You learn to die well. We learn to live, despite everything. Both are hard. As the sun starts its descent, not that you've seen much sun today. The clouds have been thick as wool. Your father calls you outside again. Your body protests every movement. Muscles you didn't know existed, all hurt in new and creative ways. This time, he has you lift stones. Not just any stones. Specific ones he selected and placed around the yard over the years. Each one has a name, because of course Vikings name their training stones. Start with lamb, he says, pointing to the smallest. Lamb is probably 30 pounds. To your 7-year-old arms, it might as well be a mountain. You squat down, wrap your arms around the cold stone, and lift, or try to. The stone comes up a few inches, then crashes back down. Your lower back screams. Wrong, father says. Legs lift, back stays straight. The back is for holding, not lifting. Again. You try again. This time the stone comes up higher. Your legs shake like leaves in a storm, but you get lamb to waist height. Hold, father commands. You hold. 1 second, 2, 3. Your arms are on fire. 4, 5. Your vision starts to go white at the edges. 6, 7. Drop. The stone hits the ground with a thud that you feel in your bones. Your hands are scraped raw from the rough surface. Now Piglet, father says. Piglet is bigger, maybe 50 pounds. You can barely get your arms around it. I can't, you start to say. The look your father gives you stops the words in your throat. It's not an angry look. It's worse. It's disappointed. It's a look that says, maybe you're not worth the food it takes to keep you alive. You attempt Piglet. You fail. You attempt again. You fail. Again. On the 3rd try, you get it an inch off the ground before your grip fails and it drops on your foot. The pain is incredible. You bite through your lip to keep from screaming. Blood fills your mouth, mixing with the taste of dirt and sweat. Your father watches you hop on one foot, blood dripping from your mouth, and for the first time today, he almost smiles. "Good," he says. "You didn't scream. Screaming wastes energy. Save your energy for surviving." He walks over to you, grabs your foot, and feels around with practiced fingers. "Not broken. You'll live. Tomorrow we try again." Tomorrow. There's always a tomorrow in Viking training. Always another chance to prove yourself. Always another opportunity for pain. As you limp back toward the longhouse, you see other children from the village walking by. They're heading to the central hall where the older folks tell stories on winter evenings. Their parents let them play sometimes, let them be children, but their fathers aren't warriors. Their mothers aren't from warrior families. They're farmers, craftsmen, traders, respectable, necessary, but not warriors. Their children will probably live longer, easier lives, but they'll never have the respect that comes with being a warrior's child. Never have the fear and admiration in others' eyes. Is it worth it? You're too young to answer that question. Too young to even really ask it. All you know is this is your life. This is your way. Inside, your mother has added the wolf meat to the evening stew. The smell fills the longhouse, rich and wild, and somehow comforting. It's the smell of survival, of taking from the world what you need to live. Another day. Your little sister Inga has fallen asleep by the fire, her small hands still clutching the wool she was trying to spin. Your mother picks her up with surprising gentleness, carrying her to the sleeping bench. She tried to stay awake, Gudrun explains. Wanted to prove she could work as long as everyone else. She'll learn, your mother says. Time teaches what words cannot. The stew is served in wooden bowls, worn smooth by years of use. Your grandmother used these bowls. Maybe her grandmother too. Vikings don't throw things away just because they're old. Old means tested. Old means proven. Old means reliable. You eat in silence. The only sounds the scrape of spoons against wood and the crack of the fire. The wolf meat is tough, gamey, but it's meat. Protein. Strength for tomorrow's trials. Your father cleans his bowl completely, then sets it down with finality. The boy did well today, he announces to no one in particular. Your mother nods. Bergeron nods. Even little Inga, awakened by the smell of food, nods sleepily. This is the closest thing to a celebration you'll get. A simple acknowledgement that you didn't fail, that you're worth keeping around for another day. Tomorrow, your father continues, we practice with real weapons. Your stomach drops. Real weapons. Real danger. Real possibility of real injury. He's young for real weapons, your mother says, not arguing. Vikings' wives don't argue with their husbands about warrior training, just observing. Young is when you learn fear is useless, your father replies. Old is too late. After dinner, there's still work. There's always work. The animals need checking. The fire needs banking. Tomorrow's wood needs bringing in. Your body moves automatically now, beyond exhaustion, into a strange state where everything feels distant and dreamlike. Finally, it's time for sleep. You collapse onto your bench, pulling the scratchy wool blanket over your bruised body. Every position hurts. Every breath reminds you of where you got hit. Every heartbeat throbs in your scraped hands and stubbed foot. But you survived. One day of Viking childhood, and you survived. As you drift toward sleep, you hear your parents talking quietly by the dying fire. Their voices are low, but the longhouse carries sound. He's small, your mother says, like Astrid was small. There's a long silence. Astrid, the sister who died before you really knew her, the one whose name brings that strange softness to mother's face. Astrid was weak, your father says finally. The boy is small but not weak. There's a difference. The winter will test that difference. The winter tests everything. You dream of wolves, yellow eyes in the darkness, blood on snow, the weight of a knife in your hand. You dream of stones with names, getting heavier and heavier until you're crushed beneath them. You dream of your father's disappointed face, your mother's calculating eyes, the empty corner where Astrid's cradle used to be. When you wake, it's still dark. It's always dark when Vikings wake. But this time, you wake before your mother shakes you. Your body has already started to learn the rhythm. Pain is an excellent teacher, and your body is full of lessons. Everything hurts worse the second day. This is something Bjorn didn't tell you. The bruises have had time to ripen. The scraped hands have stiffened. The stubbed foot throbs with your heartbeat. Getting out of bed is an adventure in discovering new types of pain. But you get up, because the alternative is unthinkable. Your mother is already awake, of course. She looks at you struggling to dress, watches you bite back whimpers as you pull the tunic over your bruised ribs. Pain is just weakness leaving the body, she says. Or so your father likes to say. Really, pain is just pain, but you learn to live with it. Like cold, like hunger, like loss. You learn to live with it all. This might be the most philosophical thing your mother has ever said to you. It's also the most honest. Outside, the world is even colder than yesterday. Your breath freezes in your nose, your eyes water, and the tears freeze on your cheeks. But your father is waiting, and this time he's holding real swords. They're not full-sized. You're too small for that, but they're metal, with edges that catch what little moonlight filters through the clouds. One nick from these, and you'll bleed. One real hit, and you might die. Fear makes you slow, your father says, handing you the smaller sword. It's still heavy, heavier than the wooden one. Slow makes you dead, so we remove fear. How do you remove fear? By facing it until it becomes boring. By experiencing it until it becomes routine. By living it until it becomes nothing. Attack me, your father commands. You stare at him. Attack your father. With a real sword, it seems impossible, insane, wrong. Attack me or I attack you, he says simply. Choose. You attack, clumsily, weakly, but you swing the sword at your father. He deflects it easily, the clash of metal on metal, ringing through the morning air. The impact jars your entire arm. Again, harder. You swing harder. He deflects again, this time, redirecting your blade, so you stumble forward, off balance. Balance is life, he says. Lost balance is death. Again. This continues as the sky lightens from black to gray. Your arms shake, your legs wobble, sweat freezes on your skin. But something strange happens. The fear starts to fade. Not completely. Only an idiot wouldn't fear a sword. But it becomes manageable. Background noise instead of a scream. Then your father does something unexpected. He lets you hit him. Not hard, not deep. But your sword catches his arm, cutting through his tunic and drawing a thin line of blood. You freeze, horrified. You've injured your father. You've made the mountain bleed. He looks at the cut, then at you, and he smiles. Actually smiles. Good, he says. You found an opening. I gave it to you, but you found it. Tomorrow, I won't give it to you. You'll have to make your own. He doesn't bandage the cut, doesn't even acknowledge it beyond that moment. It bleeds slowly down his arm as you continue training. A red reminder that even mountains can bleed. After sword work comes archery. Your child-sized bow can barely pierce a turnip at 10 paces, but your father makes you shoot until your fingers are too numb to hold the string. Most of your arrows miss. The ones that hit rarely stick. Accuracy comes with practice, he says. Strength comes with age, but determination that you have now or never. Bjorn joins you for axe throwing. His axe bites deep into the target post every time. Yours barely makes it halfway before dropping into the snow, but you keep throwing, keep retrieving, keep trying. Why axes? You ask Bjorn during a brief rest. Swords are expensive, he explains. Axes are tools and weapons both. Every Viking has an axe. Not every Viking can afford a sword. This is practical Viking thinking. Why specialize when you can multi-purpose? An axe chops wood, chops enemies, builds houses, builds funeral pyres. One tool, many uses. Your mother calls you in for morning food. Porridge again, but this time, with a small piece of honeycomb she's been saving. The sweetness is so intense after days of bland food that it almost hurts. For surviving your first real sword day, she says simply. It's the kindest thing she's done for you in memory. Maybe ever. Viking mothers show love through preparation, not affection, but sometimes, rarely, they allow themselves these small gestures. Your father eats standing, already planning the day. After food, you come with me to the village. Time you learn to trade. Trading. This is new. This is recognition that you're growing beyond just physical training. Can I come? Inga asks hopefully. When you're 7 winters, father says, like Eric. Inga pouts, but says nothing. She knows better than to argue. In 3 more winters, she'll get her turn. If she survives 3 more winters, the walk to the village is 2 miles through snow and forest. Your father moves, like he's walking on solid ground, never stumbling, never slowing. You struggle to keep up, your shorter legs working twice as hard. See the tracks? He asks suddenly, pointing at marks in the snow you hadn't noticed. Deer, you guess? Elk. See how deep? Elk are heavier. See the spacing? Longer legs. Everything tells a story if you know how to read. He shows you other signs as you walk. Where foxes hunted rabbits, where wolves marked their territory, where bears slept last autumn before the snows. The forest isn't just trees and snow to him. It's a book of survival, written in tracks and scratches and scents. The village is small, maybe 30 families, but it seems huge to you, used to just your longhouse and immediate surroundings. Smoke rises from every home. The sound of hammering comes from the blacksmith. Children run between buildings, playing warriors and raiders. Your father trades 3 wolf pelts for iron arrowheads. The negotiation is swift, almost violent in its intensity. Neither man smiles, neither gives ground easily, but eventually, they clasp arms. Deal made. Never accept the first offer. Your father tells you as you walk away. First offer means they think you're stupid. Be insulted. Show it. Then negotiate. At the blacksmith, you watch sparks fly as iron becomes useful. The smith's apprentice is maybe 10 winters old, already muscled from working the bellows. His hands are scarred from burns, but he doesn't flinch when hot metal spits at him. Your boy? The smith asks your father. Eric. 7 winters. The smith looks you over with a critical eye. Small, but that can be good. Small targets are harder to hit. This is what passes for encouragement in Viking society. Not you'll grow, or size doesn't matter. Just a practical observation that being small might help you not die. Your father trades labor for goods here, promising you'll help with wood cutting for the forge in exchange for repairing his sword. You realize this is part of your training too. You're learning your value, learning the economy of survival. On the way home, your father stops suddenly. His hand goes to his sword. You freeze, heart pounding, but it's not danger. It's opportunity. A deer, young and alone, drinking from the partially frozen stream. Your father slowly, silently, hands you his bow. A real bow, not your child's toy. It's huge in your small hands. 1 shot, he whispers. Miss and we eat porridge. Hit and we eat meat. The pressure is crushing. The bow is too big. You can barely draw it halfway, but the deer is close. Maybe 20 paces. You remember everything. Breathe out slowly. Release between heartbeats. Don't jerk. Squeeze. The arrow flies. It hits. Not a kill shot. Too high, catching the deer's shoulder, but it hits. The deer runs, but not far. The blood trail is easy to follow in the snow. Your father finishes it quickly, mercifully. You did that, he says. Your arrow, your kill, your family eats because of you. The pride that floods through you is better than any honeycomb. You, 7 winters old, have provided for your family. You're not just a mouth to feed anymore. You're a contributor. Dragging the deer home takes both of you. Your father could probably manage alone, but he makes you help. Every step is a lesson in effort and reward. Your shoulders burn where the rope cuts in. Your legs shake with exhaustion, but this is your deer, your contribution. Your mother's eyes widen slightly when she sees it, the only sign of surprise she'll show. Fresh meat in winter is precious beyond words. Eric's arrow, your father says simply. Your mother looks at you differently now. Not soft, never soft, but with a kind of calculation that includes new possibilities. You're becoming useful. In Viking society, useful is the highest compliment. The entire family works to process the deer. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is ever wasted. Your mother and Gudrun handle the hide. This will become clothing, blankets, maybe even shoes. Bjorn helps your father with the butchering, learning the exact cuts that preserve the most meat. Even little Inga helps, cleaning sinew for thread. And you're given the liver, raw, still warm, as is tradition for the hunter. It tastes like iron, and earth, and accomplishment. Vikings believe eating the liver gives you the animal's strength. Right now, you need all the strength you can get. Tell the story, your mother says, as she works. Another tradition, the hunter tells the tale. So you do. How father saw the tracks first. How the wind was in your favor. How your hands shook but you remembered to breathe. How the arrow flew true enough. Your family listens while working, and in their silence is approval. That night, there's celebration, not a party. Vikings don't really do parties without significant cause. But there's meat in the stew. There's marrow to suck from the bones. There's the quiet satisfaction of full bellies in winter. Your father even brings out the special mead. You get a small cup, watered down, but still strong enough to make your head swim. Vikings introduce their children to alcohol early, teaching them to handle it before it can handle them. A story, Brun requests, about grandfather. Your father considers. Storytelling is important to Vikings. It's how history survives, how lessons are passed, how the dead stay alive in memory. Your grandfather, he begins, his voice taking on the rhythm of saga telling, was called Thorsten Iron Hand, not because his hand was strong, though it was, but because when he was young, younger than Eric here, his hand was crushed by a stone during training. You look at your own scraped hands, imagining them crushed. The bones healed wrong. His left hand was twisted. Only 3 fingers worked properly. Everyone said he'd never be a warrior. Can't hold a shield with a twisted hand. Can't grip a sword properly. Your father takes a drink of mead, letting the story breathe. So he learned to fight differently. Trained his right hand to be worth 2. Learned to use his twisted hand as a weapon itself. The bones that healed wrong were hard as iron, could break a man's jaw with 1 strike. He killed 17 men in his life. Married your grandmother when everyone said no woman would have a crippled warrior. Had 6 children. Lived to see 43 winters. 43 winters. That's ancient for a warrior. Most die young in battle, or slightly older, from accumulated injuries. To live that long means your grandfather was both lucky and incredibly tough. The lesson, your father asks, looking at you. You think carefully. Viking stories always have lessons. That weakness can become strength. No, your father corrects. That strength is deciding not to give up. The weakness stays weakness. Grandfather's hand never healed right, but he decided that wouldn't stop him. That decision was his strength. His is deeper than you expected, more complex. Vikings aren't just about physical power. They're about will, about choosing to continue when everything says stop. The fire burns lower as the evening continues. Your mother works on the deer hide, rubbing it with the animal's own brains, the traditional way to soften leather. The smell is awful, but the result will be soft, supple, waterproof. Gudrun is teaching Inga to sew with the new sinew, making tiny stitches and scraps of old leather. Every girl learns to sew before she can properly walk. Clothes don't buy themselves. They barely make themselves. Everything is handmade, hand-mended. handed down. Tomorrow, your father says suddenly, you go with Bjorn on the fishing boats. Your stomach drops. The fishing boats. In winter. The North Sea in winter is death waiting to happen. Waves like mountains. Cold that kills in minutes if you fall in, and you can barely swim in calm water. He's young for the boats, your mother observes. Again, not arguing, just noting. Young learns faster than old, your father replies. Fear is easier to train out when bones are still soft. Soft bones. That's what you are to them. Clay to be shaped, iron to be forged. Sooner. Not yet finished, still malleable. I'll watch him, Bjorn promises. This is significant. Bjorn taking responsibility for you. If you die, it reflects on him. You'll do more than watch, father says. You'll teach. Teaching makes you understand what you think you know. Another lesson within a lesson. Bjorn is being trained too, just differently. He's learning to lead, to be responsible for others. One day he'll have his own children to train. If he lives that long. As the family prepares for sleep, you lie on your bench, thinking about tomorrow. The boats, the sea, the very real possibility of death, but also thinking about today. Your deer, your family eating well because of you. This is the paradox of Viking childhood. Constant danger and constant growth. Every day might kill you, but every day you survive makes you harder to kill. Your mother passes by your bench, and for a moment, just a moment, her hand rests on your head. Not quite a caress. Vikings don't caress, but a touch, an acknowledgement. You did well today, she says quietly. Sleep. Tomorrow will be harder. Tomorrow will always be harder. That's the Viking way. Each day builds on the last, adding weight, adding challenge, adding danger, until you break or become unbreakable. The boat is smaller than you imagined. When the father said fishing boat, your child's mind pictured something substantial, something safe. This is barely bigger than two men lying down. The sea is bigger than your mind can comprehend. It's still dark when you reach the shore. 4 other boats are already launching. The men nod at Bjorn, then look at you with expressions ranging from pity to amusement. Bringing babies fishing now, Bjorn. One calls out. Eric killed his first deer yesterday. Bjorn responds calmly. Did you kill anything yesterday, Olaf? Besides time? The men laugh. Olaf scowls but says nothing more. You've learned something important. Reputation matters. Your deer gives you a tiny piece of status, something to stand on besides just being someone's little brother. The boat rides the waves like a living thing. Up, down, tilting at angles that make your stomach rebel. You've never been seasick before. You've never been to sea before. If you need to vomit, do it over the side, Bjorn says practically. And hold tight while you do. The sea doesn't give back what it takes. The sun rises slowly, painting the watercolors you didn't know existed. Deep purple, then red, then gold. Beautiful and terrifying. The shore disappears behind you. Now it's just you, Bjorn, and the endless water. First lesson, Bjorn says, working the oars with practiced ease. The sea is not your enemy. It's not your friend either. It just is. Respect it. Read it. Never trust it completely. The fishing lines are already set with hooks and bait. You help lower them, the weight pulling them down into the dark water. Then you wait. Fishing is mostly waiting, it turns out. Waiting and watching, and trying not to think about how deep the water is. How deep? You ask Bjorn. Here? Maybe 40 men, standing on shoulders. Further out? No one knows. Deep enough that things live down there we've never seen. Things that sometimes eat the fish off our hooks. Things that sometimes take the hooks too. This doesn't help your stomach. The first fish comes up fighting. It's bigger than your arm, silver and furious. It thrashes in the boat, spraying freezing water everywhere. Grun shows you how to kill it, quickly. A sharp blow to the head with a wooden club. Suffering is pointless, he says. Quick death is respectful death. By midday, you have a dozen fish. Your hands are cut from hooks, frozen from water, slippery with fish slime, but you're still alive, still in the boat, still working. Then the weather changes. It happens fast. One moment the sea is rough but manageable. The next, waves are crashing over the bow. The boat tilts at impossible angles. You can't tell which way is up anymore. Bold deal. Groon shouts over the wind. You grab the leather bucket and start throwing water out as fast as it comes in. It's a losing battle. The sea wants in, and the sea usually gets what it wants. A wave bigger than the others hits. You're airborne for a moment, then crashing back down. The impact rattles your teeth. One of the fish baskets goes overboard. Hours of work, gone in an instant. Leave it, Bourne yells when you reach for it. The sea took it. It's gone. This is another lesson. Sometimes you have to let go. Sometimes holding on to what's lost will kill you. The storm passes as quickly as it came. You're soaked, freezing, missing half your catch. But you're alive. The boat is still floating. That's victory enough. You didn't panic, Bourne observes as he checks the remaining lines. That's good. Panic kills more sailors than the sea does. You hadn't realized you didn't panic. You were too busy bailing to panic. Maybe that's the secret. Stay too busy to be afraid. On the way back, Bourne teaches you to read the water. How certain birds mean land is near. How the color changes near rocks. How the wave patterns tell you about the wind to come. Father taught me this when I was your age, he says. His father taught him, back and back, all the way to the first Viking, who thought sitting on wood in the water was a good idea. You laugh. It's the first time you've laughed in days. It feels strange but good. Probably seemed insane, you say. Hey, let's sit on a tree and see if it floats. Everything seems insane the first time. Bjorn agrees. Then it works, and it becomes normal, then necessary, then tradition. The shore appears, and with it, safety. Other boats are coming in too. Some did better, full baskets of fish. Some did worse. One boat has a broken mast, limping in on oars alone. Your mother is waiting on the beach with other wives. Not worried. Viking wives don't show worry, but there, present, watching. She examines your catch with a critical eye. Less than expected. Storm took half, Bjorn explains. She nods. Storms happen. The sea gives and takes, according to its own logic. But the boy did well, Bjorn adds. Didn't panic. Keep working. Your mother looks at you. Really look at you. See the cuts on your hands, the salt crusted in your hair, the way you're standing, despite exhaustion. You smell like fish, she says, and fear sweat, but also like someone who might survive to adulthood. From your mother, this is basically a declaration of love. That evening, the village gathers for a feast. Not for you. You haven't done anything feast-worthy. Old Ragnar has died, and Vikings celebrate death as much as life. More, sometimes. Ragnar was ancient, 51 winters. He died in his sleep, which is both shameful and enviable. Shameful because warriors should die fighting. Enviable because 51 winters is a victory in itself. The main hall is warm, almost hot after the constant cold of your daily life. The fire pit runs the entire length of the building. Smoke escapes through gaps in the roof, but much of it stays, making everything hazy and dreamlike. You sit with the children, away from the main table. Your place is determined by age and achievement. You have years before you'll sit with the warriors, if you ever do. The food is incredible, by your standards. Roasted goat, preserved berries, bread with actual butter, cheese that doesn't taste like feet, and mead. Even the children get small cups of watered mead. But this isn't just about food. This is about stories, about lessons, about remembering. Ragnar's son stands to speak. He's a massive man, scarred from countless battles. When he talks, everyone listens. My father, he begins, taught me that dying well is important, but living well is harder. Any fool can die bravely. It takes wisdom to live long enough that your death matters. He tells stories of Ragnar's raids, of battles, won and lost, of the time Ragnar held a bridge alone against 12 men, buying time for his crew to escape, of the time he chose not to fight, recognizing a trap, and how that wisdom saved 30 lives. He wasn't the strongest warrior, the son continues, wasn't the fastest, but he was the smartest. He understood that survival isn't about winning every fight. It's about choosing which fights to have. You think about this as you eat. Your father trains you to fight everything. But maybe the real lesson is learning what's worth fighting. An old woman stands next, Ragnar's sister. Her hair is white as snow, her back bent with age, but her voice is strong. Everyone talks about Ragnar the warrior, she says. I remember Ragnar the boy, scared of the dark, until he was 9 winters old, cried when our mother made him kill chickens, threw up his first time on a boat. Some of the younger warriors look uncomfortable. This isn't the Ragnar they want to remember. But the older ones nod. They understand. But he learned, she continues. Fear of the dark became knowledge of how to use darkness. Hatred of killing became respect for death. Sickness on boats became mastery of the sea. Every weakness became a teacher. She looks directly at the children's table. At you. Your weaknesses are not shameful, she says. They are your future strengths, waiting to be forged. The stories continue late into the night. Each person who knew Ragnar shares something, a memory, a lesson, a debt. This is how Vikings achieve immortality, through the memories of those who survive them. You're starting to fall asleep on the bench when something interesting happens. 2 men start arguing about a debt Ragnar supposedly owed. Voices rise. Hands go to weapons. The hall goes quiet. Violence at a funeral feast is seriously bad luck. But these men are drunk and angry. A dangerous combination. Your father stands. He doesn't speak, doesn't draw his weapon, just stands. The 2 men look at him, at his calm face, at his ready stance, at the way his hand rests casually near his axe. They sit back down. Your father sits too. The feast continues. Later, walking home through the snow, you ask Born what happened. Father reminded them that some fights aren't worth having. Born explains, without saying a word, without threatening, just by being what he is. What is he? Dangerous enough that fighting him is never the easy choice. Calm enough that not fighting him is never shameful. It's a balance. He takes years to learn. At home, your mother is already preparing tomorrow's work. The feast was a break in routine, but routine returns with dawn, always returns. Did you learn anything? She asks you. You think about the stories, about Ragnar afraid of the dark, about choosing which fights to have, about weakness becoming strength. That being strong isn't just about fighting, you say carefully.
She nods.
And that everyone starts weak, even heroes. Even heroes, she agrees. Especially heroes. Heroes have the farthest to travel from what they were to what they become. The next morning brings a different kind of education. Your mother declares you'll spend the day with her and Gudrun, learning useful things. Your father doesn't object. Even Viking warriors need to know how to maintain their equipment, mend their clothes, and not poison themselves with badly preserved food. First lesson, your mother says, leading you to the storage room. Winter planning. A stupid warrior dies in battle. A smart family starves in winter. The storage room is organized with military precision. Grains in sealed pots to keep out mice. Preserved meat hanging from rafters. Fermented fish buried in salt. Root vegetables in sand. Everything counted, measured, rationed. We have enough for 3 months, she explains. Maybe 4, if we're careful. The deer helps, but spring comes when it comes, not when we want it to. She shows you the marks on the wall, a counting system, tracking what's used, what's left, what's needed. It's surprisingly complex. Your mother, who you thought couldn't read, has her own written language of survival. Men fight wars, she says. Women fight time. Time always wins, but we can make it work for its victory. Gudrun teaches you to mend clothes. Your clumsy fingers can barely hold the bone needle, but she's patient. more patient than father ever is. Small stitches last longer, she says. Like small steps in deep snow. More work, but you actually get there. You're working on patching a hole in your own tunic when Inga asks a question that makes everyone freeze. Why did Astrid die? Your mother's hands stop moving. Gudrun looks away. Even the fire seems to quiet down. She was weak, your mother says, finally. Born too early, too small. Was I weak when I was born? Inga asks. Yes, your mother says simply. But you got stronger. Astrid didn't. Why? Your mother is quiet. For so long you think she won't answer. The gods decide. We endure. Sometimes there is no lesson. Sometimes bad things just happen. Sometimes children just die. The only choice is to continue or not continue. How to tell good meat from bad by smell and color. How to make soap from ash and fat. How to keep wounds from going bad. Honey and cobwebs, apparently. How to make needles from bones. Thread from sinew. Rope from hide. Everything is useful, your mother says repeatedly. The moment you throw something away is the moment you'll need it. Mid-afternoon brings unexpected visitors. 3 women from the village, including the Volva, the seeress. She's ancient, older than anyone you know, with eyes clouded by age, but somehow still seeing everything. I came to see the boy, she says.
You?
Why you? Your mother tenses, but doesn't object. You don't refuse the Volva. Nobody refuses the Volva. She takes your small hands in her gnarled ones. Her touch is dry and cold, like holding twigs in winter. She stares at you with those clouded eyes, and you feel like she's looking through you, past you, into some future you can't see. This one will travel far, she says finally. Further than his father, further than ships can sail. Will he live? Your mother asks. It's the only question that matters. He'll live long enough, the Volva says cryptically. Long enough to matter. She releases your hands and turns to your mother. The girl, though, she says, looking at Inga. Watch the girl. She has the sight, but doesn't know it yet. Then she leaves. As suddenly as she came, the other women follow, whispering among themselves. What did she mean? You ask your mother. The Volva speaks in riddles, your mother says. Sometimes they mean something. Sometimes they're just the rambling of an old woman who's lived too long. We'll know which when it happens. But you see worry in her eyes when she looks at Inga. The sight is a gift and a curse among Vikings. Those who see the future rarely enjoy the present. That evening, your training continues but differently. Your father teaches you to read the sky. Red sunrise means storm coming, he says. Ring around the moon means snow. Birds flying inland means the sea is angry. He teaches you to find direction by the stars, to estimate time by the sun's position, to predict weather by the wind's behavior. A warrior who can't find his way home is just a dead man walking in circles, he says. Bjorn adds his own wisdom. Learn to read people like father reads weather. A man who won't meet your eyes is planning something. A man who meets them too steadily is hiding something. A man who looks at your weapon instead of your face has already decided to fight. What about women, you ask? Bjorn laughs. Women are harder to read than the weather, and twice as dangerous when stormy. You'll learn that when you're older, or you won't, and you'll have an interesting life. 3 weeks have passed. 3 weeks of daily pain, daily lessons, daily survival. Your body has started to change. Still small, but harder. Like leather left in the sun. Same size, but tougher. Then comes the blizzard. It starts as regular snow. You've seen plenty of snow, but this is different. The wind sounds like wolves howling. The snow falls so thick, you can't see your hand extended. The cold isn't just cold. It's a living thing trying to eat you. Your father makes everyone stay inside. Even he respects this kind of storm. The longhouse groans under the wind's assault. Snow piles against the walls until you can't open the door. We wait, your father says. Fighting weather like this is how fools die. So you wait, and in waiting, learn new lessons. Your mother rations food even more carefully. One meal a day, small portions. The storm could last days, has lasted weeks in past winters. Hunger is just another feeling, she tells you when your stomach cramps, like cold, like tired. You can live with feelings longer than you think. To pass time, your father tells stories, real stories, not sagas, about his first raid, about the time he got lost in a storm like this and had to shelter inside a dead elk, about friends who didn't come back. Eric's grandfather, he says on the second day of the storm, once survived 2 weeks alone in winter, broke his leg falling from a cliff, crawled to a cave, ate his own boots when the food ran out, ate moss, ate bark. When we found him, he was more skeleton than man, but alive. How, you ask? He decided not to die, your father says simply. Every morning he decided again, not today. That's all survival is, deciding not today, every day until you don't have to decide anymore. On the third day, the firewood runs low. The inside temperature drops until you can see your breath. Everyone huddles together for warmth. Even your father sets aside his pride to press close to others. This is when you learn that survival is bigger than individual strength. The family survives together or dies together. Your body heat keeps Inga alive. Brines keeps you alive. Everyone is a link in a chain of survival. Your mother tells stories now, different from father's warrior tales. Stories about clever women who outsmarted raiders, about healers who saved villages, about mothers who kept families alive through impossible winters. Strength comes in many forms, she says, looking at you and Inga. The strength to fight, the strength to endure, the strength to think, the strength to heal. Vikings who only respect one kind of strength are Vikings who die surprised. On the fourth day, the storm breaks. Your father and Bjorn dig out the door. The world outside is transformed. Snow higher than your head, trees broken under the weight, a white desert where your familiar world used to be. 3 families in the village didn't survive. Old Helga froze when her fire died. The twins who were born last month were too weak. This is why we train you hard, your father says, looking at the devastation. The world wants you dead. Every day you're alive is a day you've won, but tomorrow you have to win again. The work of recovery begins immediately. Digging out, checking animals. Half the chickens are dead. Gathering more wood before the next storm, because there's always a next storm. You help Bjorn break ice on the stream so you can get water. The ice is as thick as your hand. Below it, water still flows, ignorant of the frozen world above. Like us, Bjorn says. The surface is frozen, hard, but inside, life keeps moving. That's what it means to be Viking. Frozen outside, flowing inside. Spring arrives like a hesitant visitor, unsure of its welcome. The snow melts slowly, revealing the world's bones, dead animals, broken trees, the debris of survival. You've survived your first real winter. Not everyone did. The boy from the village who was your age, Torstein, caught a fever and died quickly. The old warrior who lost his foot to frostbite will follow soon. Winter always claims its price. But you're alive, changed, harder, but alive. Your father declares it's time for the next level of training, combat with consequences. You'll fight Bjorn, he announces. Real weapons. First blood ends it. Bjorn is 12. You're still 7, almost 8. He's nearly twice your size. This seems less like training and more like elaborate suicide. He's too small, your mother says. This is maybe the 3rd time she's ever objected to your father's decisions. Small learns to be fast, or small learns to be dead, your father responds. Better he learns with family. The fight happens at dawn. The whole family watches. Even Inga, though mother tries to cover her eyes. Bjorn has a sword. You have a shorter one, still heavy for your size. He circles you like a wolf, and you understand you're the prey. I won't go easy, he warns. I know, you reply. He attacks, not full strength. He's not trying to kill you, but hard enough, fast enough, real enough. You dodge, barely. His sword whistles past your ear. You swing back, pathetic and slow. He deflects easily, then kicks you in the chest. You hit the ground hard, breath gone. He stands over you, sword point at your throat. Dead, he says. Again. You get up. You always get up now. It's becoming who you are. This time you don't try to match his strength. You just try to survive. Dodge. Retreat. Dodge. Again. Make him work. Stop running, he says, frustrated. But you don't. Running is surviving. Pride is luxury. He gets angry, swings harder. Anger makes him sloppy. His next swing goes wide, and you dart in, your sword catching his arm. Just a scratch, but blood flows. First blood. You won. Everyone stares. You beat Burn, technically, through cowardice and luck. But you won. Your father laughs. Actually, I laugh. Deep, genuine laughter. The boy understands, he says. Fighting fair is for idiots. Fighting to win is for Vikings. Burn isn't happy, but he nods. Good, he admits. You used my anger. That was good. Your mother tends his cut, then surprisingly, tends to you too. Your chest is already bruising from his kick. You fought smart, she says quietly. That's how the small survive. Let the big ones be strong. You be smart. As spring deepens, life shifts from pure survival to preparation. This is when Vikings raid, when they trade, when they build and repair and plan. Your father announces he's joining a raid. 3 weeks on the sea, maybe longer, maybe forever. Raiders don't always return. Bjorn leads while I'm gone, he says. Eric helps him. Everyone works. Everyone survives. The night before he leaves, he takes you aside. Just you and him by the dying fire. You're still small, he says. Might always be small. Your mother's father was small, but he was the most dangerous man I knew. You know why? You shake your head, because he understood that strength isn't just muscle. It's will. It's intelligence. It's endurance. It's knowing when to fight and when to wait. You're learning this. Keep learning. He hands you something. A small knife. Child-sized but real. Good steel. The handle is carved with runes. This was mine when I was your age, he says. My first real blade. Now it's yours. Use it well. Use it wisely. The weight of it in your hand feels like responsibility. What if you don't come back, you ask? It's the question everyone thinks, but no one asks. Then you become the man sooner, he says simply. But I'll come back. I have things to teach you still. He leaves at dawn. You watch until his ship disappears into the mist. Your mother stands beside you, Inga in her arms, Gudrun at her other side. Bjorn is already working, taking his responsibility seriously. Now we wait, your mother says. And work. Always work. The days without father are different, quieter, but somehow more tense. Bjorn tries to maintain the training routine, but it's not the same. He's still learning to teach, to lead. One evening, a stranger arrives. A wanderer, asking for shelter. Viking law demands hospitality, but your mother is cautious. Bjorn has his hand on his axe. The stranger is old, weathered, with one eye that sees and one that's just white scar tissue. He tells stories in exchange for food, stories about distant lands, about creatures in the deep sea, about gods walking among men. When he looks at you with his one good eye, you feel evaluated. This one has the mark, he tells your mother. What mark? She asks, suspicious. The mark of one who'll see the world change. The old ways ending, new ways beginning. He'll stand at the bridge between. More prophecy. Vikings love their prophecies. But something in his voice makes you believe him. He leaves the next morning, but not before teaching you a trick. How to throw a knife so it always lands point first. It takes you 50 tries to get it right once. But once is a beginning. Days become weeks. No word from the raid. This is normal, but still worrying. Your mother hides her concern, but you see her looking toward the sea more often. Then finally, a ship appears. Your father's ship, but moving wrong. Too slow, too low in the water. They've lost men. You can tell before they even reach shore. The way the survivors move says everything. Your father is alive but wounded. A deep cut across his ribs, already going bad despite treatment. He can barely walk. Half the crew didn't return. Good men, strong men, dead men now. Ambush, your father explains later, fevered and weak. They knew we were coming. Someone talked. Your mother tends him with herbs and prayers. The wound smells wrong. Everyone knows what that means, but no one says it. For 3 days, he burns with fever. You take turns watching him, cooling his head with wet cloths, forcing water between his cracked lips. On the 3rd night, the fever breaks. He'll live, scarred, maybe weaker, but alive. The gods aren't done with me yet, he says weakly. But something has changed. The raid's failure, the betrayal, the wound. Your father is still strong, but not invincible. And knowing he can fail, can bleed, can die, makes you understand that someday, probably soon, you'll need to stand on your own. Summer in Viking lands isn't the relief you might expect. Yes, it's warmer. Yes, food is easier to find, but summer brings its own challenges. Raids from other clans, work that can't wait, and training that intensifies because now you can spend all day outside without freezing. Your father has recovered, mostly. The wound left an angry red scar across his ribs, and he moves differently now, careful. Like he finally remembers he can die. Today he announces one morning. Eric learns to swim properly. Your stomach drops. You can splash around in shallow water. But real swimming? That's different. He takes you to the ford. The water is deep here. Dark blue-green. Cold even in summer. Bjorn comes too, along with other boys from the village. This is communal learning. Also communal judgment. Swimming saves lives. Your father says. Ships sink. Ice breaks. Men fall overboard. Those who swim might live. Those who don't definitely die. He demonstrates his powerful strokes, carrying him far from shore. The other fathers do the same. Then it's the children's turn. The older boys go first. They've done this before. Their bodies cut through the water with varying degrees of skill. Then it's your turn. The water is colder than ice. It steals your breath, makes your muscles seize. You sink immediately. Water fills your nose, your mouth. You panic, thrashing wildly. This is how people drown. Not from water, but from panic. Strong hands pull you up. Your father, waist deep, holding you like you weigh nothing. First lesson, he says calmly, like you weren't just drowning. Water is stronger than you. Don't fight it. Work with it. He shows you how to float. It seems impossible. You're supposed to just lay there, trust the water to hold you, but slowly, terrifyingly, it works. Your body wants to float. You just have to let it. By the end of the day, you can swim. Not well, not far, but enough to not immediately die if you fall in water. That's all Viking children need. Just enough skill to maybe not die. Walking home, soaking and exhausted, you pass the thrall quarters. Thralls, slaves taken in raids, or born into servitude. You've seen them your whole life, but never really looked at them. One is a boy about your age, different colored hair, different shaped face. From somewhere far away, he watches you with eyes that hold no hope. Why don't we teach them to swim? You ask your father. Why would we? He responds. They're property. You don't teach your axe to swim. But the boy is clearly human, clearly capable of learning. The unfairness of it sits strange in your stomach. Was he born a thrall? No. His village was raided. His parents probably died fighting. He was young enough to be useful, so he lived. Could I become a thrall? Your father stops walking. Look at you seriously. If our village was raided, If I died, if your mother died, if Bjorn died, if you were captured, yes, you could become a thrall. This is sobering. Your whole identity, your whole life, could be stripped away by stronger warriors, just like you stripped that boy's life away, or someone like you did. That's why we train, your father continues. So we're the ones who raid, not the ones who are raided. The ones who take, not the ones taken from. It's brutal logic, but it's Viking logic. The world is divided into those who take and those who are taken from. They're determined to be the former. That night, you dream about drowning, about being a thrall, about your father's ship never returning. Your mind is processing all the ways your life could go wrong. You wake to Inga, crying. Not unusual. She has nightmares too, but this time is different. She's not just crying, she's speaking, saying things that haven't happened yet. The ships burn. She sobs. All of them burn. The men scream, but the water is on fire too. Your mother holds her, but her face is pale. This is what the vulva meant. Inga has the sight. She sees futures that might be. She's your mother soothes. It's just a dream, but everyone knows it's not just a dream. Somewhere, somewhen, ships will burn. Men will scream. The question is whether it's your ships, your men, or someone else's. Your father hears the commotion, but says nothing. What is there to say? You can't fight the future. You can only prepare for it. The next day brings sword training again, but now your father includes strategy, not just strength. Fighting is like the game of kings, he says, referring to the board game Vikings play. You must think ahead. See what your enemy will do before he does it. He sets up scenarios. You're outnumbered. You're wounded. Your sword breaks. What do? The answer is always, whatever it takes to survive. Honor is for the dead. The living do what they must. But the sagas talk about honorable death. You point out. Dying with sword in hand. The sagas are told by the living, your father says. The dead tell no stories. Better to win ugly than die pretty. This goes against everything the stories teach. But your father is alive, and the heroes of the sagas are not. Maybe that's the real lesson. Late summer brings the harvest. Every hand works, even small ones. The entire village moves like one organism, cutting grain, storing food, preparing for another winter. You work beside the thrall boy sometimes. He doesn't speak your language well, but work is a universal language. Cut, gather, carry, stack, cut, gather, carry, stack. His name is Alexander. You're not supposed to know that. Thralls don't have names, just descriptions. But you heard him whisper it to himself once, holding on to that last piece of who he was. Your father is teaching you to fight, he says one day, in broken Norse. Yes, you reply, unsure why he's talking to you. My father taught me too. Before, when I was a person, I was a person. The past tense hits hard. You're still a person, you say without thinking. He looks at you with those hopeless eyes. No. I am a tool that breathes. You want to argue, but what would you say? In Viking society, he's right. He is property. His personhood was taken along with his freedom. Your mother sees you talking to him. Later, she pulls you aside. Don't get attached to thralls, she warns. They die, or get sold, or run and get killed for running. Attachment to temporary things brings only pain. Everything is temporary. You point out. Father could die. You could die. She slaps you. Not hard, but sharp. The lesson slap, not the punishment slap. We are family. We are blood. That thrall is neither. Learn the difference, or suffer for your stupidity. But you can't stop thinking about it. How thin the line is between you and him. One lost battle. One successful raid against your village. That's all. The harvest continues. Your hands blister, heal, blister again. Your back aches constantly, but the storage rooms fill. Another winter's survival taking shape. Then comes the news that changes everything. A messenger arrives, exhausted from hard riding. The king is calling his warriors. A great raid is planned, not just a coastal village, but a real town, maybe even a city. Your father must go. Not wanting to go, must. When the king calls, warriors answer or lose everything. Their reputation, their land, their place in society. But you just got back, your mother says. She doesn't beg. Viking wives don't beg, but there's something in her voice. I know, your father replies, but this is what we are. He looks at you, and Bjorn, you're not ready for this. Either of you. Maybe next year. Part of you is relieved. Part of you is disappointed. You want to prove yourself, but you also want to live. The night before he leaves again, your father teaches you and Bjorn together, not fighting this time. Leadership. If I don't return, he says, and your mother makes a sound of protest. If I don't return, Bjorn leads the family. But Eric, you support him. Brothers who fight each other fall to enemies who don't care about their quarrel. He tells you about inheritance, about law, about who owes your family what, and who your family owes. It's complicated. Everything in Viking society is about debt and payment, honor and obligation. Remember, he says finally, the family survives or the family dies. Individual glory means nothing if the bloodline ends. He leaves the next morning with half the village's men. The older boys, 16 and 17 winters, go too. They're barely trained, but they're bodies that can hold weapons. The village feels empty, hollow, like a body missing its bones. Your mother takes charge with the other wives. They've done this before. They know how to keep everything running when the men are gone. But there's a tension. Other clans know when villages are weak. When most of the warriors are gone, this is when raids happen. When the raiders become raided, your mother starts teaching you, and Gudrun things she's never taught before. Where to hide if raiders come. How to make it look like there's nothing worth taking. How to survive if you're taken. If they capture you, she tells Gudrun, don't fight. Fighting gets you killed. Survive first. Escape later. Dead women don't get revenge. To you, she says, if they come, you take Inga and run. Don't be a hero. Heroes die. Take your sister and run to the forest. Hide until it's over. What about you? I'll do what needs doing, she says, which isn't an answer. Days pass, then weeks. No word from the raid. No ships on the horizon. Just waiting and working and preparing for winter that's coming, whether the men return or not. The wolves come in early autumn, driven down from the mountains by some disturbance. Maybe early snow. Maybe a forest fire. Maybe just because wolves go where they want. You hear them at night, howling, closer than they should be, hungrier than they should be. Your mother doubles the watch on the animals. You and Bjorn take turns staying awake, keeping the fire high, keeping weapons close. On the third night, they attack. Not the longhouse. Wolves are smart enough to avoid that. But the separate pen, where the sheep are kept. You hear the screaming, sheep and wolves both. Bjorn grabs his axe. You grab your small sword. Your mother grabs her bow. Stay with Inga, she tells Gudrun. Then to you and Bjorn, we go together. Stay close. Wolves are pack hunters, so are we. Outside is chaos. The sheep are panicking, crashing against the fence. Dark shapes move through them, like death itself. Blood smell fills the air. Your mother shoots arrows with deadly accuracy. Each one finds a wolf, but there are more wolves than arrows. Bjorn charges in with his axe, brave and stupid. A wolf turns on him, teeth finding his leg. He screams, goes down. You don't think so. You just move. Your small sword in your hand. You run at the wolf on your brother. You stab, miss, stab again. This time, you hit something important. The wolf releases Bjorn, turns on you. Just like your first wolf, so long ago. But you're different now. Not bigger, but harder. Not fearless, but functioning despite fear. The wolf lunges. You drop, roll, come up stabbing. Pure instinct now. No technique, just survival. Your blade finds the wolf's belly. Hot blood covers your hands. The wolf snaps at you, but it's already dying. You pull the sword out, stab again. Again, a dim bee, until the wolf stops moving. You look up. Your mother has her knife out now. Arrows spent. She's fighting a wolf hand to hand, if you can call it that. She moves like water, avoiding teeth, her knife finding all the soft places. Another wolf comes at you. This one's bigger, smarter. It circles, looking for an opening. Then Bjorn's axe takes its head off. He's up, bleeding but up, and angry. That's mine, he says, meaning the kill. You got yours. Together, you and Bjorn and your mother kill 7 wolves. The rest flee, bellies full of sheep, but the pack is broken. You're covered in blood. Wolf blood, sheep blood, Bjorn's blood. Your own from scratches you didn't even feel happening. Inside, your mother commands. Now. She tends to Bjorn's leg first. It's bad but not deadly. The teeth went deep but missed the big blood vessels. He'll limp for weeks but he'll live. Then she looks at you. Really look at you. You saved your brother, she says. He would have saved me, you reply. Maybe, but you did save him. That matters. She cleans your scratches with the last of the good mead. It burns like fire, but you don't flinch. You've earned the right not to flinch. You fought well, she continues. Not pretty, but well. You didn't freeze, didn't run. That's what matters. Gudrun and Inga watch from their corner. Inga's eyes are wide with fear. And something else. Awe, maybe. Her big brother is the wolf killer. Will they come back? Gudrun asks. Maybe, your mother says. But not tonight. We hurt them too much. Wolves are smart. They know when the price is too high. You help drag the dead wolves away from the house. Tomorrow, you'll skin them. Use everything that is usable. But tonight, you just need them gone. 7 dead sheep. That's bad. That's winter food gone. But it could have been worse. Could have been Bjorn. Could have been you. Father would be proud. Bjorn says as you work. His leg is bandaged, but he insists on helping. Father would say we should have protected the sheep better. You reply. That too. Bjorn agrees, but also proud. That night, you can't sleep. Every sound might be wolves returning. Every shadow might have eyes. But also, there's something else. A feeling. You fought. You killed. You saved your brother. You're 8 winters old, and you've tasted real combat. You understand now why Vikings seek battle. Not because they love death, though some do, but because in battle everything becomes simple. Live or die. Win or lose. All the complicated parts of life fall away, leaving only the pure moment of survival. It's terrifying. It's also addictive. Autumn deepens toward winter. Still no word from the raid. This isn't unusual. Long raids take time, but the silence weighs heavy. You've started having dreams like Inga. Not prophecy, just dreams. But vivid, real feeling. Dreams where your father returns but different, changed. Dreams where he doesn't return at all. Dreams where you're on the ship with him, fighting and dying in some foreign land. Your mother keeps everyone busy. Idle hands make worried minds, she says. So you work, preparing for winter, fixing what the wolves destroyed, training. She's taken over your combat training, and she's different from father, where he emphasizes strength and directness. She teaches tricks, deception, using enemy expectations against them. Men think women can't fight, she says, showing you how to hide a knife in your sleeve. So when we do, we're already winning. You're small. Enemies will underestimate you. Use that. She teaches you to fight dirty. Sand in the eyes. Strikes to the groin. How to use your small size to get inside an enemy's guard. Honor is a luxury for big men with big swords, she says. You're not big. You may never be big. So be smart. Be fast. Be ruthless. Bjorn watches these lessons with interest. He's learning too, seeing combat differently. Not just as strength versus strength, but as mind versus mind. One day, unexpected visitors, not raiders, merchants. They're traveling to the winter market and stop for the night. Your mother feeds them, as tradition demands. But she's wary. They have news from the outside world. The raid your father joined has succeeded. Partially. The town was taken, plundered, but the cost was high. Many dead, many more wounded. Do you have names? Your mother asks. Of the dead, the merchant shakes his head. Only rumors. But they say the king himself was wounded. If the king dies, he doesn't finish. Everyone knows what happens when kings die. Chaos. War between would-be successors. Maybe the end of everything is stable. That night, your mother didn't sleep. You see her sitting by the fire, staring into the flames, like they might show her the future. Are you scared? You ask her quietly. Fear is useless, she says automatically. Then softer. But yes, I'm scared. Scared your father is dead. Scared he's alive, but can't return. Scared of raising you all alone. It's the most vulnerable she's ever been with you. We'd survive, you tell her. You've taught us. We'd survive. She almost smiles. Maybe, but surviving and living aren't the same thing. The days get shorter, colder. You help Voln with the heavy work, now that his leg is mostly healed. You're still small, but you're stronger than you were. Strong enough to be useful. The thrall boy, Alexander, works beside you sometimes. He's learned more. Norse, can actually talk now. In my home, he says one day, we had different gods, kind gods. Kind gods don't help when unkind men come with swords, you reply. He nods sadly. No, they don't. You want to tell him you're sorry. Sorry for what happened to him. Sorry for what your people did. But you're not sorry. Not really. His suffering means your family has help. His slavery means your survival is easier. This is the ugly truth of Viking life. First snow falls early. Just dusting, but a warning. Winter is coming, whether the men return or not. Your mother starts preparing for the worst. If the men don't return, if the king is dead, if chaos comes, the family needs to be ready to run. She packs emergency supplies in hidden places. Makes you and Bjorn memorize where. If I say run, you run, she tells you. Don't ask why. Don't look back. Take Inga and Gudrun and run. Bjorn knows where to go. Where, you ask? The old shelter in the mountains. From your grandfather's time. It's hidden, defensible, has supplies. You've never heard of this place, but apparently it exists. A last resort for last resorts. Then, finally, a ship appears on the horizon. It's not your father's ship. It's smaller, damaged, limping into the fjord like a wounded animal. The whole village gathers at the shore. Hope and dread, mixing in the cold air. 3 men get off. Only 3. One is from your village. Hakon, your father's friend. His arm is gone at the elbow, wrapped in dirty bandages. Where are the others, someone asks. Coming, Hakon says. Slowly, many wounded. Your mother pushes forward. My husband, alive, Hakon says. Last I saw. But that word hangs like an axe over your neck. But what? Your mother demands. The king died. His sons fight for succession. Your husband stayed loyal to the eldest. Others chose the younger. There was conflict, civil war, Viking against Viking. The worst kind of war because both sides know how the other fights. He's trying to get home, Hakon continues. But the younger son's men control some routes. It's complicated. In Viking terms, that means bloody. Hakon stays with your family that night. Your mother tends his stump of an arm. It's infected, going bad. She does what she can, but you can see in her eyes, it might not be enough. He tells the story while she works. The raid was successful at first. The town fell easily. Too easily. It was a trap. The king was wounded in the ambush. It took him 3 days to die. He named Ericsson his heir. Hakon says, clear as day. But Grimson claimed the king was delirious. Said he was the rightful heir. The warriors split. Brother against brother. Friend against friend. The plunder from the raid was forgotten in the fighting among themselves. Your father fought well, Hakon tells you. Saved many men. Earned much honor. Honor doesn't feed families. Honor doesn't keep you warm in winter, but you nod like it matters. Will he make it home, you ask. Hakon looks at you with eyes that have seen too much. If anyone can, your father can. He's too stubborn to die. 3 days later, Hakon dies. The infection was too far gone. Another warrior lost, not to enemies, but to tiny things, too small to see. Your mother burns his body with what ceremony can be managed. His family gets his few possessions. More ships arrive over the following weeks. Each one brings some men home. Never enough. The village is becoming a place of widows and orphans. Then, on a gray morning when the snow falls thick, your father comes home. He walks into the village. No ship. Just him and 2 other men. They look like they've walked through hell. Maybe they have. He's changed. Thinner. A new scar across his face, taking part of his ear. His left hand is missing 2 fingers, but alive. Your mother doesn't run to him. Viking wives don't run, but she walks very fast. They embrace briefly, publicly, then longer in private. That night, he tells the story. The journey home was worse than the raid. Fighting other Vikings, hiding, starving, walking when the ships were lost. Why didn't you switch sides? Bjorn asks. When things got bad, your father looks at him steadily. Because oaths matter. Break an oath to save your life, and your life becomes worthless. Better to die with honor than live with shame. You think about this. It seems stupid to you. Dead is dead. But maybe that's because you're still young. Maybe honor makes more sense when you're older. Your father sees your doubt. You disagree? I think living is more important than oaths, you say carefully. He nods slowly. Maybe. For some. But I made my choice long ago. A man is his word. Without that, he's just meat that talks. The family is together again. How wounded, scarred, but together. Your father can't hold a shield properly with his damaged hand. Can't fight like he used to. But he's alive. That night, listening to your parents talk quietly, you understand something. This might be your father's last winter as a warrior. He'll never say it, never admit it, but his body is betraying him. Too many wounds. Too much damage. What happens to a warrior who can't war? You're about to find out. Your father adapts to his limitations with grim determination. He can't fight like before, but he can teach. And teach he does, with new urgency, like he's running out of time. Every morning, regardless of weather, he trains you and Bjorn. But now, it's different. Less about strength, more about strategy. Less about winning, more about surviving. I won't always be here, he says bluntly. You need to be ready. He teaches you to fight as a pair, how Bjorn's strength and your speed can work together, how to cover each other's weaknesses. Alone, a wolf is dangerous, he says. In a pack, wolves are death itself. He also teaches you to lead, how to make hard choices, how to judge people, how to know who to trust and who to watch. Trust everyone to be themselves, he says. The generous will be generous. The greedy will be greedy. The brave will be brave. The cowardly will betray you. Know what people are and plan accordingly. One morning, he takes you hunting. Just you, not Bjorn. This is unusual. You track a deer through fresh snow. Your father moves differently now, favoring his injuries, but his wood knowledge is intact. He reads the forest like words on a page. There, he whispers, pointing to marks you barely see. She's tired, hungry. Winter has been hard on her. You find the deer eventually. She's thin, ribs showing, an easy kill. Your arrow, your father says. You draw your bow, aim. The deer doesn't even try to run, like she's given up. Wait, your father says quietly. Look closer. You look, really look. The deer's belly is slightly swollen. She's carrying young, your father explains. Kill her. You kill next spring's deer too. So we let her go. What do you think? You think about your family, about winter, about empty bellies, then about spring, about new life, about the future. We let her go. You decide. Your father nods. Sometimes the hard choice isn't to kill, but not to kill. Remember that. The deer wanders off, unaware how close death came. Walking back, your father talks more than usual. I've killed many men, he says. More than I can count. Most deserved it. Some probably didn't. But I never killed without reason. Never killed for joy. That's the difference between a warrior and a monster. Have you known monsters? Yes. Men who love the killing more than the victory. They don't last long. The gods don't favor them. Other warriors don't trust them. They die alone, unmourned. As winter deepens, your father spends more time teaching you practical things. How to judge good iron from bad, how to maintain weapons, how to read weather patterns years in advance. See how the geese flew this year, he asks. Lower than usual. Means next winter will be harder. Plan now. He teaches you and Björn to read runes. Not many Vikings can read, but your father insists. Knowledge is power, he says. The more you know, the harder you are to defeat. Your mother watches all this with knowing eyes. She sees what's happening. Your father is passing on everything he knows while he still can. One night, a stranger arrives. But not really a stranger. It's Alexander's owner, come to collect his property. The thrall has been on loan, apparently. Alexander stands silent as his owner inspects him like livestock. You want to say something, do something. But what? This is law. This is normal. That night, you can't sleep. You keep thinking about Alexander being dragged away, about how he looked back once, just once, before disappearing into the snow. It bothers you. Your father observes. He's awake too, sitting by the dying fire. It seems wrong, you admit. Many things are wrong. The strong taking from the weak is wrong. Children dying of hunger is wrong. Wars over insults are wrong. But the world is wrong. We just live in it best we can. Could we change it? He considers this. Maybe. Slowly. But change requires power. And power requires doing things the current way first. By the time you have power to change things, you might not want to anymore. This is the most philosophical your father has ever been. Maybe approaching death makes everyone a philosopher. Spring comes late, just as the geese predicted. The snow lingers. The stores run low. People start looking at each other with calculating eyes, not quite desperate yet, but close. Then comes news that changes everything. The war between the king's sons has ended. Grimson won. Eriksson is dead, and Grimson is calling all warriors who supported his brother to account. Your father was known to support Eriksson. This is very bad. We could run, your mother suggests quietly. Take the family, go south, or west to Iceland, and live as what? Your father asks. Outcasts? Beggars? No. We stay. We face what comes. But he prepares. Weapons are cleaned and sharpened. The hidden shelter in the mountains is stocked. Plans are made for various possibilities. If they come for me, he tells you and Bjorn, you don't fight. You protect your mother and sisters. Get them to safety. Let me handle my own fate. But, Bjorn starts. No. My time as a warrior is ending anyway. You can see it. I can see it. Better to die standing than waste away sitting. Your mother says nothing, but that night you hear her crying. Just once, very quietly. The only time you've ever heard her cry. Days pass. Tension builds. Every rider on the horizon might be Grimson's men. Every ship might bring death. Then Inga has another vision, a real one. She wakes screaming about fire and blood, and men in dark cloaks. When? Your mother asks urgently. Soon, Inga sobs. Very soon. Your father makes a decision. Tomorrow, the family goes to the mountain shelter. I stay here. We all stay or we all go. Your mother says firmly. No, I stay. I face this with honor. You survive. The family continues. They argue. Actually argue. For the first time you can remember. Your mother throws things. Your father stands there and takes it. Finally she stops. Accepts. Because Viking wives ultimately defer to their husbands, even when those husbands are choosing death. That night, nobody sleeps. Everyone prepares, packing what can be carried, saying goodbye without saying goodbye. At dawn, your mother wakes you and your siblings. We're going to the mountains, she says simply. Get dressed. Bring only what you need. Your father stands at the door, armed and armored despite his injuries. He looks like a warrior again. Maybe for the last time. He embraces your mother, kisses Inga and Gudrun, clasps arms with Bjorn. Then he kneels in front of you, eye to eye. You're still small, he says, but you're strong where it matters. Here, he taps your chest, and here, he taps your head. Take care of them. Come with us, you beg, even though you know he won't. A man faces his fate, he says. But more importantly, if I run, they'll chase. If I stay and fight, maybe they're satisfied with just me. My death might buy your life. He hands you something. His father's arm ring. Gold, old, valuable beyond measure. You're too young for this, he says. But time doesn't care what we're ready for. Then he stands, turns, and walks into the longhouse without looking back. Your mother leads you away, through the forest, up the hidden paths. Nobody talks. Even Inga is silent. Halfway up the mountain, you see smoke. Black smoke from the direction of the village. Your mother doesn't look back. Doesn't let you look back. Forward, she says. Always forward. The shelter is better hidden than you expected. Built into the mountain itself, covered with generations of growth. If you didn't know exactly where to look, you'd walk right past it. Inside, it's surprisingly large. Your grandfather, or maybe his grandfather, built well. Stone walls, multiple rooms, even a small spring for water. How long do we stay? Gudrun asks. Until it's safe, your mother answers. When will that be? When it is. Days pass. You take turns watching from a hidden spot where you can see the village far below. The smoke has stopped. Tiny figures move around. But it's too far to see who. Your mother keeps everyone busy. There's work even here. Hunting small game. Gathering what little grows this early. Maintaining the shelter. But mostly, you wait and think. About your father. About whether he's alive or dead. About what comes next. On the 5th day, Born can't stand it anymore. I'm going back, he announces. To see. No, your mother says. I'm going. Then you're an idiot. But she doesn't actually stop him. Can't, really. He's 13 winters now. Almost a man. I'll go with him, you say. Absolutely not. He needs someone to watch his back. Father said, we're stronger together. Mother looks at you both. Her boys. Trying to be men. Fine. But you look only. You don't engage. You don't reveal yourselves. You come back, no matter what you see. The journey down takes hours. Every step might be into danger. Every sound might be enemies. The village, when you finally see it clearly, is wrong. Too quiet. Some buildings are burned. Others stand but empty looking. You and Bjorn creep closer. Bodies. Not many, but some. You recognize faces. Warriors who stayed to fight. Then you see him. Your father, in the center of the village. He's standing? No. They've tied him to a post. He's dead, but they've positioned him upright, facing the sea, a warrior's death. Even if mocked, Born makes a sound. Grief and rage mixed. Quiet. You his. Though you want to scream too. Around your father's body are others. Grimson's men. From their clothing. Many others. Your father didn't die easy. Or alone. He took 8 with him. A voice says behind you. You both spin. Weapons out. But it's Hakon's widow. She's been hiding. Watching. 8 men, she continues. They came with 20. Left with 12. Your father, he fought like the old stories. Even with his injuries. Even outnumbered. Where is everyone else? Brown asks. Fled. Hid. Some taken as thralls. Grimson's men said the debt was paid with your father's death. They left yesterday. We need to bury him. Brown says. No, you say. Remembering your mother's words. We need to get back. Tell mother. Then decide. But Brown is already walking toward the village. Toward your father's body. You follow because what else can you do? Let your brother face this alone? Your father looks smaller in death. The wounds are many. He fought to the end. That's clear. His sword is still in his hand. Frozen there by death and cold. Help me cut him down. Brown says. Together you free your father's body. It's stiff, heavy, awkward. Nothing like the man who taught you to fight. We can't carry him up the mountain, you point out. Then we burn him here. Now, properly. You gather wood. It takes time. Other survivors appear. Help. Soon there's a proper pyre. Your father's body is placed on top. His weapons with him. His few treasures. Everything he'll need in Valhalla. If Valhalla is real. Brown lights the fire. The wood catches slowly. Then fast. Soon your father is hidden by flames. You stand there watching your father burn. And realize you're not a child anymore. Can't be. Children have fathers. You're just Eric now. 8 winters old and fatherless. We should go. You tell Brown eventually. Mother needs to know. The walk back up the mountain is longer. Heavier. You're carrying news that will change everything. Your mother knows before you say anything. Sees it in your faces. The way you walk. How? She asks simply. Fighting. Brown says. Took 8 with him. She nods. Good. That's good. But that night, she holds Inga, and doesn't let go. Like if she holds tight enough, she can keep the rest of you from disappearing too. The family returns to the village after 3 days. There's nowhere else to go. This is home. Damaged or not, the longhouse still stands. Inside, signs of the fight. Blood on the floor. Furniture broken, but livable. Your mother takes charge immediately. No time for mourning. Survival comes first. Bjorn, you're the man now, she says. In name, but we all know you're still learning. So you'll listen to me until you know enough not to need to. Bjorn nods. He's 13, but he looks older now. Loss does that. Eric, you're too young for the responsibilities coming, but you'll carry them anyway. That's how life works. Ready or not, it arrives. The village slowly reassembles. Families return from hiding. The work of rebuilding begins. But it's different now. Fewer men, more widows, more orphans. The social structure is broken and reforming into something new. Your family has some status still. Your father died with honor, taking enemies with him. That means something. Not much, but something. Spring finally arrives properly. Late but welcome. Time to plant. Time to build. Time to figure out how to survive without half the village's warriors. You help where you can. Still small, but useful. Your father's training shows in everything you do. The way you hold tools. The way you watch for danger. The way you've learned to endure. One day, while fishing with Bjorn, he says something unexpected. I'm glad you're my brother. Why? Because I can't do this alone. Be the man, I mean. I'm 13. I barely know anything. But with you, maybe we figure it out. Father figured it out, you point out. Father had his father until he was 16. We have us. Has to be enough. That night, your mother tells you all something important. We're leaving. Everyone stares. Leaving? Gudrun asks. Where? Iceland. My cousin lives there, has land, needs help working it. We'll go when the ice breaks enough for ships. But this is home, Gudrun protests. This was home, your mother corrects. Now it's where your father died, where we're vulnerable. In Iceland, we can start over. Be more than the family that lost its warrior. You think about this, leaving everything, everyone, the only world you know. What about father's grave, you ask? We burned him. His smoke has already traveled farther than we ever will. He doesn't need us to stay. Over the following weeks, your mother prepares, selling what can't be carried, trading for what's needed, booking passage on a trading ship. Other families are leaving too. The village is dying, slowly but certainly, without enough warriors to protect it. It's just a matter of time before raiders come. Your last night in the longhouse is strange. Everything familiar, but already feeling like memory. Tell me about father, Inga asks. So I remember, so you tell stories about his strength, his teaching, his stubbornness, his rare smiles, how he could read the forest, how he died fighting. He wasn't perfect, your mother adds. He was hard, maybe too hard, but he loved us in his way, protected us, taught you to protect yourselves. That's love in Viking terms. Will we still be Vikings in Iceland, you ask? We'll be whatever we need to be to survive, your mother says. Viking is just a word. We're a family. That's what matters. The ship is smaller than you'd like. For crossing the North Sea, the captain is a weathered man named Thorvald, who lost an eye and gained a fortune trading. 5 days if the weather holds, he says. 8 if it doesn't. Never if the sea decides it wants us. Your family has a small section of the deck. Everything you own in a few bundles. Your entire life is reduced to what you can carry. Other families crowd the ship, all running from something or to something. Vikings in motion, searching for better. The first day was calm. You help with sailing, learning knots, and reading wind. Skills your father meant to teach you, but ran out of time. Bjorn is seasick immediately. The mighty warrior, brought low by waves. You don't mock him much. Your mother stands at the rail, looking back until Norway disappears. Then she looks forward and doesn't look back again. No point mourning what's gone, she tells you. Energy is for what's coming. The second day brings rough water. Waves wash over the deck. Everything is soaked, cold, miserable. An old woman traveling alone tells stories to pass time. She speaks of Thor fighting the world serpent, of Odin trading his eye for wisdom, of Ragnarok, when everything ends. Everything ends, she says, looking at you. Fathers, homes, worlds. But endings are also beginnings. The key is surviving the transition. On the third day you see whales, massive, impossible creatures that make the ship seem like a toy. They could destroy you all with a casual flip of their tails, but they don't. Just swim alongside for a while, then disappear into the deep. They're traveling too, the captain says. Everything's always traveling. Staying still is an illusion. That night, the northern lights dance across the sky, green fire that seems alive. Your mother holds Inga, who stares in wonder. Father would have liked this, Inga says. Yes, your mother agrees. He liked beauty, though he'd never admit it. The fourth day is fog. Thick, white nothing in every direction. The captain navigates by instinct and experience. Everyone is quiet, afraid to break whatever spell keeps the ship on course. In the fog, you think about your father, about lessons learned and lessons missed, about the man you're supposed to become without him. To show you how, you're thinking too hard, your mother observes, sitting beside you. I can hear it from across the ship. How do I become a man without a father to teach me? The same way I became a woman, without my mother. She died when I was 9. Life taught me the rest. It wasn't gentle, but it was thorough. Were you scared? Every day. Still am. But fear is just information. It tells you to pay attention. Listen to it. Don't obey it. The 5th day brings Iceland into view. Mountains and grassland, and possibility. It looks empty, Gudrun observes. Empty is good, your mother says. Empty we can fill. Full would mean fighting for space. The harbor is small but busy. Ships from everywhere. Languages you don't recognize. People who look nothing like you. Your mother's cousin, Magnus, meets you at the dock. He's older, gray-bearded, walks with a limp from some old battle. Sister's daughter, he greets your mother. I heard about your husband. He died well. He died, your mother says. Well or not, he's dead. We're alive. That's what matters now. Magnus nods, respecting her directness. Come. The farm is a day's walk. We'll stay in town tonight. Leave at dawn. The town is rougher than your village was. Newer. People here are running from things or to things. Sometimes both. Everyone has the sharp edge of survival on them. That night, in a crowded inn, you see your first real fight. Two men over some insult. They go from words to knives faster than breathing. One dies. The other walks away. Nobody intervenes. Nobody seems surprised. Welcome to Iceland, Magnus says. Like Norway, but less civilized. You'll fit right in. The farm is bigger than you expected. Land stretches to the horizon. Mountains in the distance. A river cutting through, providing water and fish. But it's also clearly struggling. Not enough hands to work it properly. Buildings needing repair. Animals looking underfed. My sons went Viking last year, Magnus explains. Never came back. My wife died the winter before. I've been alone since. Not anymore, your mother says firmly. We're family. We work together. The house is smaller than your old longhouse, but solid. Stone foundation. Thick walls. A good roof. It'll do. You and Bjorn share a room barely big enough for two sleeping benches. Gudrun and Inga share another. Your mother takes the small space near the kitchen. Tomorrow we start, she announces. This is home now. We make it work or we starve. Choose. The first weeks are brutal. Everything needs to be done at once. Planting, building, repairing, hunting. You work from before dawn to after dark. Your body, already hard from your father's training, gets harder. Your hands, already rough, become like leather. You're still small, but you're iron, wrapped in skin. Magnus teaches you, and Bjorn about the land, where to hunt, where to fish, where other farms are, who to trust, who to watch. Icelanders are different, he says. No kings here, no jarls, every man for himself, but also everyone together when needed. It's a contradiction, but it works. You learn the sheep. Icelandic sheep are survivors. Like the people, they can eat almost anything, survive almost anywhere, but they're also stupid and stubborn. One day, chasing escaped sheep across the grassland, you realize something. You haven't thought about being a Viking in weeks. You've been too busy being a farmer. Is this what your father would want? His son chasing sheep instead of glory. That night, you ask your mother, your father wanted you to survive, she says. How you survive matters less than that you do. Viking, farmer, trader, they're all just ways of living. Choose the one that keeps you alive. But Bjorn is restless. He's 14 now, old enough to raid, old enough to seek glory. The farm feels too small for his ambitions. Next summer, he tells you, I'm joining a crew, going Viking. Mother won't let you. Mother won't have a choice. I'll be 15. A man. You think about this. In 2 summers, Bjorn was gone. You'll be the only male on the farm. 10 years old, defending the family. The thought terrifies you, also thrills you. Your father's training might matter after all. Magnus notices your worry. Bjorn will go, he says. Young men always go. Some come back, some don't. That's the way. But you might be different. Different how? You think before you act. Watch before you move. That's not very Viking, but it's very survivalist. As autumn comes to Iceland, earlier and harder than Norway, you help with the harvest. The work is endless, but satisfying. You can see the results. Food stored, animals prepared, family protection. One night raiders come, not for your farm, you're too poor, too new. But the farm across the valley burns. You see the flames, hear the screaming carried on the wind. Your mother wakes everyone, arms them, prepares. They might come here next, she says. You hold your father's knife, your knife now. For Bjorn has a real sword, bought with traded wool. Gudrun has a bow. Even Inga holds a small blade. You wait all night, but they don't come. In the morning you see why. The neighbors fought back, hard. Dead raiders litter their farmyard. The family survived, but barely. This is Iceland, Magnus says. No law but what you make. No protection but what you provide. You help the neighbors bury their dead and rebuild. They'll do the same for you someday. Maybe. That night you dream of your father. He's standing in the doorway of the Iceland house. But you can see through him. You're learning, he says, in the dream. Different lessons than I taught, but still learning. I miss you, you tell your dream father. Missing is useless. Living is useful. Live. You wake to Inga shaking you. She's had another vision. Ships, she gasps. Black ships with red sails. Coming here, coming for us. Your mother holds her. But over Inga's head, she meets your eyes. The message is clear. Prepare. Winter in Iceland is different from Norway. Somehow harder and easier at once. The wind cuts sharper, but the Gulf Stream keeps it warmer than it should be. The darkness is deeper, but the northern lights are brighter. You've grown in the months since arriving, not taller. You're still small, but denser, like you're becoming concentrated, distilled down to essence. Your days follow patterns now. Wake in darkness, feed animals, train with Bjorn, work the land, train again, eat, sleep, repeat. The training has evolved. Magnus joins sometimes, teaching tricks your father never knew. Dirty fighting, survival fighting, the kind that keeps old warriors alive long enough to become old. Your father was an honorable fighter, Magnus says. That's why he's dead. I'm a survivor. That's why I'm not. He shows you how to hide weapons on your body, how to turn farm tools into killing implements, how to make someone think you're weak when you're not. Deception is a weapon, he says. Sometimes, the best weapon. One morning, you wake to find wolf tracks around the sheep pen, but these are different, bigger. The spacing is wrong. Not wolves, Magnus says when you show him. Men pretending to be wolves, scouts. Someone's planning something. That night, you didn't sleep. You sit by the small window watching, waiting. Just before dawn, you see them, shadows moving against snow. 3, maybe 4 figures. You wake Bjorn silently. He wakes Magnus. Together, you prepare. They come to the sheep pen first, as expected. But Magnus has moved the sheep. The pen is empty, except for the trap. A net covered in snow. One raider falls in, tangled. His cursing wakes everyone. The fight is brief, but vicious. They weren't expecting resistance, weren't expecting a small boy to dart between them, hamstringing one with a sharp knife. Weren't expecting Bjorn to fight like a man twice his age. Weren't expecting Magnus to know every dirty trick invented. 2 raiders die. 1 escapes. 1 is captured. The captured one is young, maybe Bjorn's age, scared under his bravado. Who sent you? Magnus demands. The boy stays silent until Magnus does something to his thumb that makes him scream. Grimson's men, he gasps, looking for the family of the warrior who killed 8. Unfinished business. Your blood freezes. They followed you to Iceland. Your father's death wasn't enough. Your mother steps forward with a kitchen knife. How many ships? He's 1, 20 men, maybe more. She looks at Magnus, sees what we can make it cost more than we're worth. The next day is a preparation. The neighboring farms are warned. Some offer help, Iceland solidarity. Others close their doors, not their fight. Traps are set, weapons are sharpened, plans are made. If fighting fails, you run, your mother tells you, and Inga. Up the mountain, there are caves, hide until it's over. We don't run, you protest. You run, if I tell you to run. That's final. 3 days later they came, but not as expected, not as raiders. They come under a white banner. I want to talk. Grimson himself is there, older than you expected, scarred, missing an ear, your father's work, maybe. I come to finish old business, he announces. The man who killed my warriors is dead, but his family lives. Blood demands blood. The debt was paid, Magnus says. You said so yourself. I changed my mind. King's privilege. You're no king here. Iceland has no kings. Grimson smiles. It's not a pleasant smile. Then I suppose we do this the old way. Combat. Champion against champion. This is the trap. Single combat means they can't just overwhelm you with numbers. But who do you have? Who can match their champion? I'll fight, Bjorn says. No, your mother says. You're 14, almost 15, and my father trained me. I'll fight, Magnus offers. You're old and lame, Grimson says. I want a real fight. The boy or nothing. This is when you step forward. I'll fight. Everyone stares. You're 9 winters old, small even for that. Grimson laughs. The puppy wants to bark? The puppy, you say clearly, is the son of the man who killed 8 of your warriors. The puppy was trained by that man. The puppy has already been killed. It's bravado. Stupid bravado. But something in your voice makes Grimson stop laughing. You're too young. It wouldn't be proper. Nothing about this is proper, you point out. You followed us across the sea for revenge. That's not proper. That's an obsession, he considers. You see him calculating. Kill a child in combat. No honor in that. But refuse a challenge from that child. That's weakness. Choose someone else, he finally says. I choose myself, you insist. Unless you're afraid of a puppy. The insult lands, has to land. In front of his men, he can't let it pass. Fine, he says. Tomorrow, dawn, the puppy dies, and the debt is paid. After they leave, your mother slaps you, hard. You stupid, stupid child. I have a plan, you tell her. You have a death wish. I have a plan, you repeat. Trust me. That night, you prepare. Not for honorable combat, for survival. Magnus helps. Understanding what you're thinking. Your father wouldn't approve, he says. Father's dead, you reply. His approval doesn't matter anymore. Dawn comes pale and cold. The whole settlement gathers. This kind of thing doesn't happen often. A child challenging a seasoned warrior? It's the stuff of sagas. If the child wins. If not, it's just another dead kid. Grimson's champion is everything you feared. Massive. Scarred. He moves like a man who's killed so many times. It's boring. You stand across from him, barely reaching his chest. Your father's knife in one hand, a small shield in the other. You look ridiculous. That's the point. This is wrong. Someone in the crowd mutters. The boy chose, Grimson says. Let him die with his choice. The fight begins. The champion doesn't rush. He's not stupid. He knows desperate children do desperate things. He circles, watching. You circle too, staying just out of reach, making him move. Big men tire faster than small boys. He swings finally, a lazy swing. Testing. You dodge easily. Dart in, cut his leg, dart out. It's a tiny cut, nothing serious. But first blood is yours. He stops playing. The next swing is real. You barely get your shield up in time. The impact sends you flying, rolling across the ground. The crowd gasps. You get up. You always get up. He comes at you properly now. You can't match his strength, so you don't try. You run. Circle. Make him chase. Stop running, coward, he shouts. But you don't stop. This isn't about honor. It's about living. He gets frustrated, angry, starts making mistakes. His swings get wilder. That's when you use Magnus's trick, the hidden weapon. A small knife in your boot, thrown when he overextends. It takes him in the shoulder. Not fatal, but painful. He roars, pulls it out, throws it aside. But that moment of distraction is enough. You're already moving, already inside his guard. Your knife finds the soft spot behind his knee. He goes down to one leg. Even on one knee, he's dangerous. His sword catches your shield, splits it in half. The next swing will kill you, so you do something no one expects. You drop your weapons and jump on his back. Your arms wrap around his throat, not strong enough to strangle him, but that's not the goal. The goal is the third hidden knife, the one in your collar. You put it against his throat. Yield, you whisper in his ear. He tries to throw you off, but the knife presses harder, draws blood. Yield or die, you say louder. The crowd is silent. This isn't how combat is supposed to go. This is wrong, dishonorable, effective. I yield, the champion says finally. You let go, drop to the ground, grab your weapons before he can change his mind. Grimson stares in disbelief. His champion, defeated by a 9-year-old child. The shame of it. The boy cheated, he protests. The boy won, Magnus says. No rules were set. Combat was demanded. Combat was given. This isn't over. Yes, it is. Your mother steps forward. Your champion lost to a child. You have no honor left to salvage here. Leave. Don't come back. Or next time, we don't fight fair at all. Grimson looks around. The crowd isn't friendly. His men are outnumbered. Continuing this would mean real battle. And for what? Pride already lost? This isn't over, he repeats, but he's already leaving. They sail away that afternoon. You watch from the shore, making sure. You fought without honor, Brone says. Not accusing, just observing. I fought to win, you reply. Honor is for people who can afford to lose. We can't. That night, there's celebration. You're the boy who beat a warrior, the small one who won big. It's a story that will grow in telling, but you don't feel victorious. You feel tired and old. Older than 9 winters should feel. Your mother finds you outside, away from the celebration. Your father would be proud, she says, and horrified, but mostly proud. I didn't fight like he taught me. No, you fought like you needed to. That's the real lesson he was teaching, even if he didn't know it. You look at the stars, different stars than in Norway. Everything's different now. I miss him, you admit. So do I, every day. But missing him doesn't bring him back. Living well honors him better than mourning. Is this living well? Fighting, killing, surviving? It's living, she says. Well is what we make of it. Life settles into rhythm again. The story of your fight spreads, grows, changes. In some versions, you killed the champion. In others, you fought 3 men. Stories are like that. They become what people need them to be. Winter deepens. The work continues. You're still small, Eric, who tends sheep and fixes fences. Fame doesn't excuse you from chores. One night, Magnus tells you something important. I'm dying. You look at him. He doesn't look dying. Slow dying, he clarifies. Something is growing in my gut. Size of an egg now. Size of a fist. By spring. Dead by summer. There must be something. There's nothing. I've seen this before. Watched my father die of it. It's a bad death. I won't wait for that. You understand what he's saying. Vikings don't wait for bad deaths. When, you ask? When I can't work anymore. When I become a burden instead of help. Then I'll go to the mountain. The cold is kinder than the growth. You want to argue. I want to find another way. But there is no other way. This is the Viking answer to inevitable death. Choose your terms. The farm, he continues. I'm leaving it to your mother. You and Bjorn will work it. Make it prosper. Bjorn wants to go Viking. Bjorn will go Viking. And maybe come back. Maybe not. But you'll stay. This land needs someone who thinks before acting. That's you. Over the following weeks, you watch Magnus closer. See the way he winces when he thinks no one's looking. The way he eats less. The way he's teaching you everything, urgently, like time is running out, because it is. He teaches you to read the weather patterns specific to Iceland, to doctor animals, to negotiate with neighbors, to lead without seeming to lead. Your mother runs things, he says, but she's a woman. Some men won't deal with women, so you'll be the face when needed. Her words, your voice. It's stupid, but it works. Spring comes slowly. Magnus gets thinner. The pain gets worse. One morning, he's gone. I walked into the mountains during the night, left a note. The farm is yours. Make it worth something. You find him 3 days later, frozen, peaceful. He chose his spot, well overlooking the valley, facing the sunrise. You and Bjorn build a cairn over him, all burning. Wood is too precious in Iceland, but stones last forever. He was a good man, Bjorn says. He was a survivor, you correct. That's better than good. The farm is yours now. Well, your mother's, but yours to work, yours to protect, yours to make worth something. Bjorn leaves 2 weeks later, joins a crew heading to Ireland. He promises to come back. You both know promises are just hope with words attached. Now it's just you, your mother, Gudrun, and Inga, a small boy, a tough woman, and 2 girls. Not much to defend a farm with, but you're not just a small boy anymore. You're the boy who beat a champion, who survived Viking childhood, who learned from his father, his mother Magnus, and loss itself. You're Eric, and you're still here. Your 10th winter passes quietly. No raids, no threats, just work and growth, and the slow building of a life. You're still small for your age, but no one mentions it anymore. Size matters less when everyone knows you'll fight dirty and win ugly. Gudrun marries in spring, a good match, a merchant's son with ambitions. They'll live in Reykjavik and try to build something in the growing town. Take care of mother, she tells you before leaving. And Inga, especially Inga. Inga's visions come more frequently now. She sees ships before they arrive, knows when storms are coming. Sometimes we know when people will die. It's a burden, the knowing. People fear her a little, respect her, but fear her. I wish I was normal, she tells you one day. Normal is overrated, you reply. Father wasn't normal. Mother isn't normal. I'm not normal. We're a family of not normal. It's our strength. It's lonely. Yes, you agree. But lonely and alive beats normal and dead. News comes from Norway occasionally. The old village is gone, absorbed by Grimson's territory. Some families fled. Others submitted. A few fought and died. You think about what would have happened if you'd stayed. If my father hadn't died. If. But it is useless. There's only what is. And what is this? A farm in Iceland. A family reduced but surviving. A life different from what you expected. But life nonetheless. Summer brings traders from everywhere. You negotiate in 3 languages now. Norse, Irish learned from traders, and Saxon learned from a thrall who earned his freedom. Knowledge is power, Magnus said. He was right. One trader brings news of Bjorn. He's alive, raiding successfully, has a woman in Dublin, might come home next year, might not. You're happy for him, also jealous. He's living the Viking dream, while you're counting sheep and mending fences. But that night, a neighboring farm was raided. The family was killed, everything taken. You see the smoke, hear later about the violence, the waste of it, and you realize you're not jealous anymore. That life, the raiding life, it's just another way to die, maybe with glory, but still dead. Your life is smaller, quieter, but it's yours. Years pass, like seasons. You grow, not tall, but solid. The The farm prospers through careful management and occasional violence when necessary. You're 15 now, not married. Who would marry small Eric with a dirty fighter reputation? But not alone either. There's a girl from 2 farms over who doesn't mind your size or your methods. Her name is Astrid, like your lost sister. Maybe that means something. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Your mother ages like iron rusts, slowly but inevitably. Her hands are more gnarled, her back is more bent, but her mind is still sharp as any blade. You've become what your father couldn't imagine, she tells you one autumn evening. Not a warrior, not a farmer, something between, something new. Is that good? It's practical. Viking ways are ending, though most don't see it yet. The world is changing. Christian kings, unified kingdoms, less room for raiders. You're becoming what survives after Vikings. Inga's visions have shown her this too. The old gods are fading. New ways are coming. Change is inevitable in winter. But we'll remember, you say. The stories, the lessons, what it meant to be Viking. Stories change in telling. Your mother reminds you, in 100 years they'll talk of Vikings as heroes or monsters, forgetting we were just people trying to survive in a hard world. Gurn comes home that winter, older, scarred, wealthy from raiding. But I'm also tired. The kind of tired sleep doesn't fix it. I'm done with Vikings, he announces. Bought land near yours, going to a farm, raise children, die in bed like Magnus. What changed, you ask? I did. I saw too much. I did too much. Survived when better men didn't. There's no glory in it, little brother. Just blood and sadness, and men dying far from home. You understand. He's learned what you learned young, that survival matters more than sagas. That night, the whole family is together, for the first time in years. Your mother, still strong despite her age. Gruern, weathered but wiser. Gudrun, visiting with her merchant husband and 2 small children. Inga, beautiful and strange, with her gift of sight. And you, small Eric, who survived Viking childhood. Around the fire, stories flow like mead. Remember when father made you lift stones? Remember when mother taught us to skin wolves? Remember the blizzard that almost killed us all? Remember, remember. But the memories are softer now, the harsh edges worn smooth by time. Even the pain has purpose in hindsight. We survived, your mother says simply. All of us. Despite everything, we survived. And isn't that the greatest Viking victory of all? The fire burns lower now, casting dancing shadows on the walls of your Iceland home. Outside, snow falls silently, covering the world in white peace. You think about your journey, from that cold morning when you were 7 winters old, when your mother shook you awake and told you that you'd stop being a baby. Through the pain, the lessons, the losses, your father's death, the flight to Iceland, the fight with the champion, all of it leading to this moment, this quiet evening with family around a dying fire. Viking childhood didn't break you. It forged you, not into a warrior of legend, but into something perhaps more important, a survivor, someone who knows that strength comes in many forms, that sometimes the greatest courage is choosing not to fight. That honor means less than family, and family means everything. Your story isn't unique. Thousands of Viking children endured what you endured. Many didn't survive. Many who did became the raiders and warriors of legend. But some, like you, became something else. The ones who built rather than burned, who preserved rather than plundered, who carried Viking strength into a new world that had no place for Vikings. The fire is just embers now. Your family has drifted to their beds. Even Inga, who usually stays up late with her visions, has found sleep. You bank the coals carefully, waste nothing, even heat, and make your way to your own bed. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges. The sheep need tending. The fences need mending. Life needs living. But tonight, in this moment, between waking and sleep, you're not small Eric anymore. You're not the boy who survived Viking parenting. You're just you. And that's enough. The wind outside sings old songs through the rafters. Songs of ice and iron, blood and belonging. Songs your father would recognize, though he never heard them in Iceland. Songs that will outlive you all, carried on winter winds long after the last Viking has gone to ground. Your eyes grow heavy. Your breathing deepens. Somewhere between one heartbeat and the next, you slip into dreams. Dreams of wolves with yellow eyes, of your father standing proud, of your mother's rare smiles, of Bjorn coming home, of Inga seeing futures bright with possibility. And in your dreams, you're not small at all. You're exactly the size you need to be. And there you rest now, brave traveler. You've walked the harsh path of Viking childhood, felt the bite of winter wind and the weight of too young responsibility. You've learned that survival isn't about being the strongest. It's about being the most adaptable, the most persistent, the most willing to do what needs doing. Your story blends now with dreams, as all good stories should. The edges soften, the details blur. What remains is the feeling of strength earned through struggle, of family bonds forged in hardship, of small victories that mean everything. Rest well, modern warrior. You've earned your peace tonight, and remember, you're stronger than you know. You always have been. History dreams alongside you now, stories of then becoming dreams of now. All of us connected through time by the simple act of surviving another day. Sleep well, the morning will come soon enough. But for now, just rest. History never rests, but you should. Take care, my dear friend.